Hey yo people, how's everyone doing this lovely evening or morning or midday, wherever you are in the world? Hello, welcome to the channel. My name is the Eighth One. This is a series called Infectious Thoughts. Some of you might have seen it before, some of you might have not. It's basically just me being nosy, right? There's no other way of explaining it. Got myself a streamer, a content creator, and his name is SadBoyGee. I'm curious to see what he does, how he got to where he got to, where's he going. Just being general nosy, really. But yeah, without further ado, here is SadBoyGee. Hey yo,
Hey,
how you doing, man?
I'm alright. How about you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. So, the same question I ask every single person that comes on my show. Who is SadBoyGee?
Oh, I'm a variety streamer that can't read, so if anybody comes to my stream, I'm likely gonna mess up your name. But outside of that, I play like a lot of JRPGs, a lot of story-focused games. I like going through RPGs and stuff and exploring all the side quests, all the backstory, all the characters. I'm very like story-focused, but outside of that, I just like creating in general. So I'm also an editor. I try and edit YouTube videos for myself and other people. I used to try and do music, but I don't have the voice for that kind of business, so it kind of fell off. But now I do streams. I also used to YouTube, but that's a thing in the past. But
Oh, so you do editing with this? That's interesting. You see, it's because, well, I'm always looking for someone that can edit some videos. You know what I'm saying? Like,
hey, I'm your guy then. Have
sweet.
you ever? I don't know if you've ever, not trying to shamelessly plug, but have you ever seen any of the clips I've edited to post on Twitter?
I have not. I have seen your channel trailer on
Yeah.
your Twitch, and that was pretty good. I mean, it's definitely better than anything I could possibly ever do. So I got time for that, and I've also got time for the fact that you're an editor and you edit as well, because I've tried to edit myself, and it just
Yeah.
hurt my brain so much.
It's kind of a learning curve, especially if you're using a program that you're not familiar with. I started editing like whenever I was 10 years old using my mom's editing software and stuff, and even her editing software was actually for slideshows, but I was using it to edit videos. So she
Okay.
would like make business slideshows, and I was trying to learn how to use that and like put videos in there and go through frame by frame and chop it up the way I wanted to, add in like effects whenever I could. It was kind of a learning curve. Now I have Premiere, which is, oh, it's like a billion times easier
All
than that
right.
slideshow thing. At least compared to the slideshow software, because it wasn't built to edit videos. It was built to edit like picture here, text here, fade away, next image, text here, like kind of what you would do for like a representation for at work or something like that, or
Oh.
uh, stuff like that, memorials, things like that. And I
So
was trying to use it to edit YouTube videos, and that did not work.
so are we talking like a flashy PowerPoint, basically?
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
god.
She had a. I'm trying to remember what it was called. It was like slideshow effects or something like that.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't think it was Adobe. It was old though, and I was like using it at 10 years old trying to make YouTube videos, and I didn't have like a capture card or anything, so I was like just recording off of a camera pointed in front of my TV at like my old Xbox or whatever. This was whenever I was much, well, I wouldn't say 10, I was probably a little older than that, but I was recording just my TV screen, trying to line it up perfectly and everything, and then editing it later. And it worked for the time because YouTube standards were like just an inch off my floor.
Yeah,
But if I
yeah.
tried doing that now, it's like, no, that wouldn't work. People don't like that.
The bar for YouTube is just so ridiculously high now. It is
Oh yeah,
honestly mad. The only people that realistically can get away with doing that is the ones that have already got the fan base there to be able to like
yeah,
slack off a little bit, essentially. But
yeah.
no,
People like Jacksepticeye or something like that. They can do whatever they want, and fans will be like, yes, take my money, even though it's free. Take my money.
Literally, quite literally, couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
But so you mentioned that you started editing YouTube videos like when you're roughly around 10ish. But when did you start your online content career as such?
Technically, I started it. Let's see, what year? I have to remember what year it's been. This last year had been kind of a blur. I started technically back in like 2016. I started out as a YouTuber.
Mm-hmm.
I was under a different name. I was using my old gamer tag, which was GX Skittles. I know, sounds really cool, right?
Okay. All right. Okay.
I made like Let's Play videos of like playthroughs of games like Dragon Age, Fallout, Assassin's Creed, that kind of stuff. And eventually I ended up quitting because of some complications, some stalker type stuff, there was all kinds of different things that went on, but I ended up quitting. And then here recently I decided to pick up streaming due to some events. I was focusing on work, and then work kind of just went bleh. And I was like, well, I need a new hobby. And I was like, well, I've been a mod for people on Twitch for like the past 2 years. Let me try streaming. So I started it back in October, and here I am now, just kind of going with the flow, trying to learn as I go, because I don't know what I'm doing most of the time, but I'm learning.
Oh, it is streaming is very much a steep learning curve. I will say that.
Oh yeah,
Like
it really is.
Like I originally, when I first got introduced to Twitch by my friend, that we started streaming at the same time, I didn't actually know what Twitch was, and I didn't watch any streamers. And then I got into contact with a few other streamers, and they was like, "Oh, so who's your favorite streamer?" And I was like, me? I don't know who. Like, I don't know who there is." And then they were saying, "Oh, have you never heard of XQC? And have you never heard of other ones?" And and I was like, "I don't know who they are, but they sound cool."
Yeah, that's about how I was. I actually got introduced to Twitch. I don't know if you ever like game on console or what you like game on preferably, but the PS4, whenever it first launched, it had a share button, and you could use the share button and you could broadcast straight from the PS4, which I game on console mostly. Which at the time I was like, what does this button do? Oh, okay, broadcast, let's try that. And I was like streaming and I didn't understand what it was. I didn't realize I was like live, like a television type program or anything. I thought it was just like another way of recording. So I treated it like a YouTube video, like where I was just commentating and stuff. I didn't realize I was getting like comments and stuff like that.
Oh, right.
And then I started looking through the comments and I was like, wait, so these people can see what I'm doing right now? This is so weird. I had no idea what Twitch was.
That's really cool. So you accidentally started streaming to Twitch?
Yeah, I started like right whenever the PS4 came out. I think I was like just test streaming or whatever, Battlefield 4. And I was like so confused at the fact that I was getting these comments and stuff. Like people were like, oh, how's the PS4? Or how's this game? And I'm like, wait, can these people see what I'm doing right now? Or I thought I was recording right now. And I was like, well, I'm glad I didn't say anything really bad, but not that I would. But that's what I used to like about like recording on YouTube was me and my friend, I had a co-host on my YouTube channel, and he would purposely say things so that I would have to go through and bleep it out. I was like, you can't stop making me bleep things. And he's like, oh, you know what? I hate beep. I was like, stop.
I love that. I could just imagine your friend, and then after he's finished saying what he said, I could just imagine you going through all of the footage and be like, so you can't say that, and then you gotta make sure you don't press, but when you do it, you're gonna get right in the, and it's just gonna get weird after that. But like...
That's exactly what it was. And he used to do like, because I did playthroughs of games, so it was kind of like, I don't know if you've ever watched like Game Grumps, but one plays the game and then the other just kind of watches him play and co-commentates. That's what we were doing on the YouTube channel. And say like hypothetically we were playing like The Last of Us or something, and a cutscene just happened and it was like really, really emotional. This room is like silent and everything. Everyone's focused. And then he's like, beep. I'm like, I hate you.
I just imagine the most like amazing thing that could be happening on stream. Thank you very much for the for the Civ. Yes, thank you for the Civ sub. Thank you very much. Completely thrown me off there. Thanks for the sub, Shiv. But I could just imagine like you have like a really emotional scene and all your friends just stand there in the corner just ready to commentate something. Everyone's quiet. The mood has just very suddenly changed, and then all of a sudden
It was. I can't remember the last time that it happened. I know one of the times that made me really upset was there's a quest in Fallout 4 where you're it's like what's it called? The Steel Brotherhood or Brotherhood?
Brotherhood of Steel. Yeah.
Yeah. And like I got to the plot twist of that part where you find out things about characters, and I was like so like into it. I was like, oh. And he was like, you know what would make this better? Bleep. I was like, you ruin everything. You make everything not fun.
Oh my
He
god.
did it all the time. That was like his thing. And I'd constantly like everyone in the like I didn't have a bunch of subscribers. I think I had like 100. But like the people that did watch me, shout out to those 3 people. Every one of them was like, man, I love him. And I'm like, oh, you have no idea the hours of editing I have to go through to cut out all the bad things he says. Like you don't even know. There were complete sections of videos that I'd have to cut out where he'd go on a rant about something that's like, we can't talk about this stuff on YouTube. We're gonna get banned. And it wasn't like overly offensive stuff. It was just stuff like, well, I mean, sometimes he'd say overly offensive stuff just because he knew I'd have to cut it out, and he was like a troll. But there were times where it's like he would bring up like this topic, and it's like, oh, don't bring up topics like that on the videos because then I have to cut them out because I don't want any like type of war in the comments discussing back and forth which is better, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And he'd do it purposely just because he knew I was gonna cut it out, and he was like, you know what? Since we're just walking it through this woods and nothing's really happening, I'm gonna start talking about bleep. And I'm like, oh no, please don't. I need the footage to not be that.
That's brilliant.
He did it all the time, bro.
That's absolutely brilliant. But
he's a good friend though.
So what did you both start working on the same kind of content together at the same time?
Yeah, like whenever I started that YouTube channel, going back to the PS4 thing, they made it where that share button, it would record the last 15 minutes of your gameplay. So we had a really complicated setup because I didn't have a capture card or anything like that. So he would get into like the voice chat with me, and I would play the game, and I'd turn on, they have a share play feature where people can see your screen without like streaming it. So I would share play the screen to him so he could see it, and I would hit the button to say I want to start recording, and we'd have to actually have a timer next to us to see like how long we've been recording, because the PS4 at the time would only let you record 15 minutes at a time.
Oh my god, that just sounds painful.
We'd have to do, it was awful, especially playing through games like Dragon Age or Borderlands 2, where to make any progress you need at least an hour.
Yeah.
So we'd do that, and like one video would be like an hour-long recording of basically 4 or 5 different clips of like different 15-minute sections, because if you didn't hit it in time, it just lost like the beginning half of the video and it would just kind of follow through. So you had to time it where you got the intro in there, and then you'd have to hit before 15 minutes hit. So sometimes we'd be pushing it like 14 minutes and 50 seconds, and then save the clip, redo it, progress, and just keep doing it. And then I'd have to get a USB drive, hook it up to my PS4, download all the videos from my PS4, take it over to my computer, edit with that crappy slideshow editing software where I had to go through each. Actually, I take that back. We had 2 different editing softwares that we had to do. I had there's a Share Factory program that's built into the PS4, I think.
Right.
and you can use that to chop up videos, but you can't add effects, at least not any good looking effects. So we'd chop it up in there so we could cut it up to where it was together, and then after that we would download them and then take them to the computer and change all the audio stuff and add in like pop-ups here, effects here, text here, all kinds of stuff like that, and then we'd upload it. So it was like such a complicated process for like a 10-minute video.
Yeah, I was going to say the amount of work that goes into one of those videos is absolutely ridiculous. And when you're doing it when you haven't got all the right software and hardware for it, like you've just described, there's a lot of extra steps.
It was painful. And I uploaded, like, at the time I uploaded about every day. I think I took one day where I didn't upload something. So we literally would record in bulk on a weekend, and we would record for like hypothetically 8 hours or something like that. And then over the span of a week, I would have to try and edit all that 8 hours into like these 20-minute, 15-minute videos for every day of the week, except for that one day that we would record, which sucked because if there was any technical errors or anything, like say audio cut out on one video or one video got lost, we would just have to record either we would take the footage and we would commentate over it, even though because the audio cut out, so we would just commentate over it. Or if the video just got lost, then we would go back to a previous save and just re-record it and try and have it edited the very same night. And that was painful. Going through games like, I think the hardest one was like Dragon Age Inquisition. Whenever that came out, we did a playthrough for that. And that game was so long, and we were going through all the side quests. We were 100%ing the whole game, and I think we ended up making it like a 30 or 40 part episode series on YouTube trying to do that. And even those videos were longer than our usual videos because we had to, because of that editing software, we had to actually go through and use, at the time YouTube had a video editor on YouTube as well, and we just put the videos together so we could have longer videos. Because even my computer at the time, I didn't have a good computer, so I couldn't edit anything that was over like 25 minutes. If I wanted a video longer than that, it would crash, and I was like, what am I gonna do?
Oh my god, wow.
So you'd have to upload like shorter videos and then go onto the YouTube editor and just put them all together to try and make one like normal video. It was such a pain. Some videos it took like 2 or 3 days to try and like finish it, and it wasn't even that good of a video. Like it's lost in the YouTube garbage bin somewhere of like videos that weren't even that good.
That is.
And we put on all that work and get like 2 likes and a dislike, and I was like, yes, I'm so proud.
That's just it though. Like even like I've only realistically recently started adding all of my long form content to YouTube, and that's because one of my followers said, "Oh, you should really put this out there because that's available to anyone and everyone whenever they want, wherever they want." And I've only recently started doing that, and even just getting like 1 like on a video is like, just. I'm famous.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like YouTube fame. Where's my money? I want to be PewDiePie. I need my plaque. I need like my plaque. I need to go to VidCon. I need to sign autographs. Let me sign your babies.
Yeah, quite literally. And I'm like, this is going great so far. So yeah, no, 100%. Yeah. I've been there, but I'm there actually now. I'm getting the occasional like on a YouTube video. So if you're watching this, make sure you click that like button.
Yeah, click the like button so we can both be famous. I want him to shake hands with PewDiePie or whoever the biggest YouTubers are now.
I don't even know. I think it's still PewDiePie at the moment. Like,
probably that guy has like 1 million subs or 10 million. I can't remember.
He's got ridiculous numbers. But you mentioned earlier that your job basically slowed down and did something, but that's one thing I like to find out, like what people do as a profession in regards, like as a contrast to them streaming, because it's just always so different. And I love hearing like.
Yeah, I actually I just have like a casual retail job, but I work on a team. We both like the whole crew, we work in a meat and produce section. I'm usually in the meat section, but like I work a shift that's 4 a.m. to 1 p.m. my time, so I have to get up at like 3 a.m. to try and go to work because it's a little bit of a ways away. So I get up at 3 a.m., get home by like 1:30, have just a few minutes to try and like scarf some food down, and then I start trying to stream at like 4. And that's why I normally don't get to stream for very long, because my job, I have to be there so early and everything. I can't stay up too late because, and it's not that my job is actually all that hard. It's actually pretty easy. It's just a mixture of having to wake up super early, being one of the few people on my crew. Yeah, and I work full time, so it's like 40 hours, and I work a lot of overtime as well because apparently they've been training me to be a manager. I think it's more of I'm like one of the only few people that takes their job seriously on my crew. Everyone else, they just kind of slack off. They're like walking around on their phone like, oh no, I'm behind on my work. And I'm like, I hate you people. Oh, you're lazy.
Yeah, because then you have to pick up the work that they're not doing. Like, you've already done your work, but it's like, oh no, somebody decided not to do theirs, so I'm gonna have to do it, otherwise we all get in trouble. Yeah,
that you perfectly described yesterday for me. I was like that. I had all my stuff done by like 7 o'clock. I was like, all right, I'm going to lunch. I'll be back. And whenever I came back, they were like just starting, and we clocked in at like 4 in the morning, and they're like kind of just starting their stuff. And I'm like, what have you all been doing this entire time? Oh, we've been cleaning. And I'm like, cleaning what? Like, it's a mess back here. Because more specifically, my job, we go in that early because we break down pallets of all the new products that we get in for that day. So we put them into steels and we do the inventory for them and everything. So it's really not that bad. And then at the end of the day, or halfway through the day, whenever you get your stuff done, then we'll go out and stock all the shelves before it gets too busy. So I'm usually done by like 6 or 7 o'clock as far as the back room, and then I just stock the rest of the day. Unless the rest of my crew is so bad that they haven't even finished halfway by like 8 o'clock. And then my boss is like, well, they're kind of struggling. And I'm like, I've heard this a billion times now. I'll go help them. And then I have to do that the rest of the day. So whenever I get home, I usually, well, not usually, but it is a known thing that I will give myself an extra day off from streaming, because I'm like, I'm not going to lie, guys, work killed me. I can't move. My legs hurt. My feet hurt. My brain hurts. I'm taking tonight off.
I 100% relate to that, because my job, there's a lot of driving with my job, and there's a lot of manual work. And when you mix those two together, and including having to, similar to yourself, having to get up an hour earlier. Well, sorry, in my case, I have to leave my house an hour earlier to when my work starts, just to get to work. And you add the 2 hours travel to and from work, and any like asshole customers on top of that. It just, my brain just gets hot, and then I can just feel like I just get home and I just want to lay down. Otherwise, I'll pick up something and I'll go hurt someone. Like, I fully agree with you on that one. And that is one thing that I do say to a lot of people, like, regardless of how much people want you to go live, take some time for yourself. Take the time to tell. Like, that's something that I always tell people too. Like, if you're not feeling 100%, just don't go live. It's going to be there for you tomorrow if you want, or the next day. It's not going anywhere. People are still going to be there. The people that like your videos and streams, they're not going to be like, oh, he didn't stream today, unfollow. I mean, you might get one, but screw them. No, that's quite literally right. The people that stick around are the ones that you want to stick around. So 100%. Couldn't agree.
I've only had like one person ever get mad at me for taking a break. They said like I wasn't going through, one of the games that I play on my channel is Persona 5, and that game is really long. Like, I'm at 130 hours in, and I think I'm just about halfway through the game, or a little over halfway through the game.
Oh my god.
I still have another like 60 hours to go probably. And whenever I first started streaming it was back in December, and I had well, my grandfather had passed away, plus work drama and losing my position at work and getting stepped back down from my supervisor position to my current position and everything. I was going through a lot in December, so I took
Jesus
most of
Christ, like,
December off.
you had the
And
bad month, man. That was
it was a
bad.
bad one. It was a bad one. And then I had like 2 or 3 people be like, "You're not going through Persona fast enough, and you need to stream more, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, one, shut up. Two, I'm trying to take time for myself so I don't just like quit altogether. Because what ends up happening to a lot of people is they'll end up pushing themselves so much. I know one streamer that I used to mod for actually streamed for like 250 days straight. Like he would, like, you know, he'd stream for at least 4 hours, no, like 6 or 7 hours,
Jesus
and
Christ.
then he'd go offline and then come do it again every single day. And he was like so burnt out on it that he just disappeared out of nowhere for like 3 months after that, because he had streamed for so long without giving himself like a proper break.
Yeah.
And I always told him, like, you gotta give yourself a proper break. Your body's not meant to deal with that much stress. And plus, like, with going back to my situation with Persona, that game is just ridiculously long. It's a great game, but it's really long. It kind of outstays its welcome a little bit, but it's just a really long game. And people were like, "Oh, you haven't made it to this part yet?" I would have made it to this part in like 2 days. And I'm like, well, sorry, but streaming takes a lot of time between like interacting with chat, taking days off, only being able to stream so many hours and stuff like that. You can't just like breeze through a game within a week. Sometimes some games are too long, and between interacting with chat and trying to stay entertaining on a stream, sometimes it's like you can't go through those really long games in a span of a week. I know some people that can. I personally can't.
Like, I can fully agree with that as well, because I've the amount of times I've started playing a game, right, and I'll be doing something on a game, but chat be popping off, and I'm literally trying to, I'm reading chat, I'm like, yo, okay, I'm just gonna quit the game, go to my discussion screen, and just talk to people, because the conversation that was happening in chat was just so mad that I was like, nah, I gotta get in on this. I fully relate to that
quite a lot.
100%. Like, the amount of times that I've quit games, just literally closed it and that was it. No, discussion screen, let's go, let's talk about washing machines and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's what I do. Like, I won't necessarily close the game. Sometimes I'll just pop up the pause menu, and then I have a scene where my face cam, it kind of zooms into the middle of the screen, so it kind of blocks the gameplay. Since it's paused anyway, it doesn't really affect anything. But I'll put that there. If the chat has something really interesting to say and the game's like too much where I can't keep up with both the game and the chat, I'll move that over, and I'm like, all right, let's talk about this. Why is Hinata a billion times better than Sakura and Naruto? Let's go. Get the topic going. And
Exactly.
I'm like,
That is exactly that. And like, yeah, 100%. But you mentioned why you've done your first stream, but what I wanted to know is what made you press that go live button the second time, because there must have been something that you thought was like, yeah, do you know what, I actually kind of like this, I want to do it again. So what made you press the go live button the second time?
it was so like I mentioned back in December, I was promised a job to become a supervisor, and I had already signed the paper and everything for it, and I'd gone through like a month of training, all this and that. And then they changed the whole job code of the whole company, and they were like, "Oh, so your position actually doesn't exist anymore. We're just going to give you your old one back. So your pay grade that you got, like your $5 raise, all this, you're going back down to this, and here you go. This is what you get." So I was like really honestly depressed, and I was unmotivated, and I was like, I don't know what to do with my life now. This is what I've been working for the past year, and now I've got nothing. So I was like trying to find a hobby or something to do to keep my mind off things. And I was like, Twitch has been a pretty fun place. I modded for several different channels for like the past 2 years. I've always been like a casual viewer, but I was like, I want to do something.
Whose channels did you mod for, and why?
One of them I can't say because she deleted her channel and everything, and she doesn't want people to know, so I'll respect that. But she was a bigger streamer. She had like 9,000 followers
Oh my
before
god.
she deleted it.
Okay.
That was kind of a tough one to mod for sometimes. There was so much going on. But I was also in FN Flossie's streams. I don't know if you've ever watched him. He was a Spellbreak streamer whenever I was modding for him, and he streamed Spellbreak and Warframe, and I want to say one other game, but I can't remember what it was. He's a great guy though. I need to actually hit him up again. I haven't seen him in a while, but I've modded for those two. The North Star, which is a good friend of mine. I've known him for like 5 or 6 years. I've modded for him, and just between all the streams that I've been in, it was like everyone seems to be having a good time. I can see that it's exhausting, but I like being creative anyway, so I'll give it a shot. So I started very, very like my beginning streams were pretty rough. I just grabbed like a random image off Google. It was like cracked concrete or something like that. Put that on the screen, put my face cam there so it looked like I had a face cam frame or whatever you want to call it, then put up the gameplay, and I was like, boom, done. Pro streamer now. And I just streamed until dawn with a couple friends. I posted like on like Snapchat and Instagram, on Facebook, and I was like, hey guys, I'm trying this streaming thing. Can you all come watch my stream so I can look cool and stuff and I don't be lonely? And a bunch of people came in and they were like chatting it up, keeping me busy, keeping me entertained, having a laugh and everything at all my mistakes and until dawn and the way I was reacting. It was the first playthrough, so I was like scared already because I was like, I don't know, I don't want any of these people to die. I'm just gonna keep walking, and then somebody would die. I'm like, oh great, I've messed it up. But between that and like that like first time experience, I was like, you know what, I'll just keep doing it. It's a pretty fun time. I like it. It's part of the reason I do it now, I think, is still because of the job thing. I still needed a hobby, and like this has filled in like that empty, like I don't want to say emptiness because that sounds depressing, but that desire to do something during my free time. So it's been a really great way of getting
that
like,
makes sense.
to do something.
That does make
Yeah.
sense. It is in a lot of cases for a lot of people like something to do, and
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, streaming to Twitch has so many different arms to it that like one of the other guests I had on here, he literally described that streaming to Twitch, being a streamer, is the equivalent of being the entire crew for a production of a film at the same time, continuously. And it is crazy because you gotta be the market team, you gotta be the video production, you gotta be the lighting, you gotta be sound, you gotta be the videos, you gotta do effects, you gotta do everything by yourself.
Yeah, you have
all
to
the
do
time.
every little thing. It's tough.
And like the because don't get me wrong, there's a very fine line between putting on a character and showing yourself with more energy. And I feel like being on Twitch, you have to show a bit more energy because how do I put it? So if I'm playing a game by myself and I know that nobody's watching me, I will sit there quietly. I won't talk to myself. Right?
Exactly.
Whereas if I'm playing it on stream, I know for a fact that there's people watching me, so I know for a fact I'm going to have to start narrating what I'm doing. Most of the time, I'm already saying this, but I'm saying it in my head. But I'm not like talking to one of the sheeps in Minecraft and being like, oh, well, what are you doing on that block? Like, how did you get there? Sort of thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is 100% a lot to do. But
that's what I tell people as well, is like, because I've had this discussion on my streams before, was like, if somebody puts on a personality on their stream, are they considered like a fake person, or like do people consider them annoying? And I was just honest. I was like, well, every streamer puts on some type of persona a little bit. They may not go as far out as being like a totally different person. Some of them maybe, but like you said, you're not going to sit there and play a game and talk to yourself whenever you're not streaming. I'm not sitting there playing Spyro just like, oh yeah, I'm gliding through the sky, oh no, this thing happened, blah blah blah, because nobody's watching, nobody's hearing that. I mean, I could say that because I'm crazy and it would entertain me at least, but
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
like,
some of the time I'm saying it inside my brain, I'm not actually saying it out loud.
yeah, and you kind of have to do that with streaming, because like another discussion that I've at least had on Twitter and stuff is like, if you're not saying anything on your stream and you're not doing anything special, you're just kind of sitting there dead silence and everything with the game, no face cam, no nothing, you're gonna get lost in the mix of things. You have to like go in and put that effort in to try and stand out in some way, shape, or form, even if it's just like the way you commentate, the theme of your channel, the colors, whatever. Like, you need to stand out some way, because Twitch, just like YouTube, is like so saturated now that if you're not doing something special or you're not doing something to stand out, you're just gonna get lost in the mix of all the other streamers out there. And if you're just sitting there in silence, you're gonna be further down. You can definitely see the difference in streamers whenever you look through. The people that are usually struggling are usually the ones that aren't saying much in their stream. They're just kind of sitting there playing the game in silence and stuff.
Yeah.
Compared to the people that are really active and chatting and everything, they're usually doing pretty well. And I think a lot of that comes down to the fact that they're just putting themselves out there. Like, they're doing all that work that you said. They're being like the producer, the lighting guy. They're doing all that stuff, compared to the people that are just hitting the button and then saying, well, I'm streaming now, and then they don't actually do anything.
I'm here. Why am I famous already? Come on, what is happening? Yeah, literally.
Yeah. I had somebody come like talk to me before. They were like, so I tried streaming and I didn't get any views or anything like that. Could you check out my stream and tell me what I could improve on? Because whenever I was modding back then, I was kind of a stream coach, kind of. I mean, I was kind of like being the one streamer's manager for. I was like doing all the marketing and stuff like that. So I was kind of a stream coach. And I was like, sure, I'll watch your stream. And I went in there and they were playing Call of Duty. I think it was either Fortnite or Call of Duty. One of the really like popular games that's really saturated. And whenever I went in there, it was just gameplay. And you could hear their mic very subtly. It was really quiet. I don't know if they were far away from it or turned down low, but you could barely hear it over the game. And that was it. It was just that. And they were like, yeah, I didn't have anybody like say anything in my stream, and I streamed for like 12 hours. Can you help me figure out on what to improve on? And I was like, all right, let me get you a list. I'm going to give you a book. I'm going to get you a book. It's going to call Streaming for People 101. I was going to say dummies, but you're not a bad guy. Streaming for People 101. Read this and then come back to me, because I was like, yeah, that's whenever you're not putting in that kind of effort, you're gonna have those kind of struggles and stuff, because there are so many people out there now, especially with last year. Everyone's kind of looking for extra income and stuff like that, so a lot of people have started doing it to try and make a career out of it and everything, like right from the beginning. Between that and then all the people that want to try it because they've watched somebody like you or me or anybody else that they like watching and being like, oh, that looks fun, I want to give it a try. Being inspired from people, they just, there's so many people out there. You really have to put in a lot of effort to try and get anywhere. And I think a lot of people kind of struggle with that sometimes.
I can fully agree with you on that one. And this is why I think I've been thinking about this recently, because obviously Twitch has realistically become so saturated in the last year because of the whole lockdown, and everyone was looking for something to do, and they found this and they looked at it and they thought, I'm going to try that. And I'm starting to see more and more of the people that started then that are very quickly, well, I say very quickly, it's taken them a year to realize that it's not always for everyone. Like, this isn't for everyone. Have no doubt about it. If you're thinking about getting into it, go in with the mindset that you're going to try it. But if it's not for you, walk away, because it's only going to do more damage than it is going to do good for you. And there's just people that are suited for specific things, and if you just got to be able to recognize what you're good at, and what you're not good at. And obviously I say that so easily, but saying to yourself I'm not good at this is the hardest thing to do, because a lot of people are just straight up stubborn, me included.
I can relate with that. Yeah, that was something that I mentioned in, I think it was my last stream actually, because somebody messaged me and they were like, "Oh, I was watching your stream and I think that it looks like a lot of fun. I'm gonna try it myself." And I was really honest with them. I was trying not to come out and be like, "Oh, this, that." Like I try and fluff it up a little bit so it doesn't hit. But I'm like, yeah, like you said, not everyone's built for it. It's not going to work out for everyone. There's a lot that goes on into it, and a lot of people, especially like the more casual viewers, they don't realize how much effort actually goes into making your stream look nice and having that like community built up and everything, all the effects and everything that goes into it, the time.
That's the
I've
thing.
probably put more time into trying to set up my stream to make it look better than I have actually streaming, honestly.
And that's just it. Like, even before we actually went live, I was actually asking you about how you do that camera effect with your camera, where it kind of like zooms in and you get the anime effect. And
Yeah.
like, for example, that I can guarantee that if I tried to do that by myself, I reckon I could easily spend about 2 hours from the time of seeing it on your stream to trying to find how to do it, to doing it, to getting it to actually work, just for a tiny little element like that.
It took me at least a decent hour because I'm not a computer expert as is. So like trying to actually install that kind of stuff, the programs that go into it. Like I have some other ones. Like I have a police siren thing that also triggers like red and blue lights on each side of my face cam. I have that. I have the like pulsating thing. I have the rainbow filter. Like there's a bunch of other stuff that I'm trying to add as well. But like it's stuff like that people are like, "Oh, that's a cool effect and everything," but they don't realize at least some people, maybe like maybe just me, but whenever you like that stuff is there, a lot of that stuff probably took quite a bit of time to actually set up perfectly. Because like for me at least, whenever I was doing that filter stuff, I was like tweaking the settings just a little bit at a time to try and get it just right. Like you have your like setting bars and everything, like the little bar there to try and, you know, how much you want this light to stay on, how long do you want this light to stay on. And I was like sitting there tweaking it and just hitting the button. Got my stream deck right here, and it goes through a lot of abuse of me like sitting there playing with the settings, like, okay, does this work? Hit the button. Nope, doesn't work. Let's try this. Does this work? Hit the button. Nope, doesn't work. And just it's like, God, stop pushing me, please. It's like it probably appreciates whenever I take a day off more than anybody, because it's like, oh, thank God he won't poke me today. Thank God.
You know what? That is actually going to be one of my next purchases, the stream deck, because I've seen your stream and I've seen Hamill Kid's stream, and both of them have such a large amount of like effects and triggered things that go on that I see, and I'm like, oh hot damn, I want that. Like
it's like my favorite part to mess with. If I had a bigger one, which I might invest in one, because I got the one with 15 buttons, which I recommend most people, if you're just getting one, get the one with 15 buttons, because you can actually go through, a lot of people don't realize it, but you can go through and make each button a folder essentially. So instead of just 15 buttons, you could hit one button and then get prompted up with 14 different actions within that one button, and then hit that button for this action and this action. A lot of people are just like, oh, I can use this button to change this scene, this scene, this scene, mute mic, this scene, that kind of stuff. But you can actually set it up to where like the 15 buttons could be more than enough for some people. That's what I always recommend. That's what I started out with. And I've seen a bunch of other streamers use it as well. I kind of just started doing that stuff. I wasn't really inspired by anybody particularly to do that stuff. I was just trying to add something to make my streams a bit funnier, because I try and go for a relaxed, like chill vibe, I guess, where I can just meme and stuff with people. So I was like, so what can I do to make my stream really just one big meme. Oh, I got it. I can make John Cena's face rip through my screen and say, "Are you sure about that?" And then whenever people see it, they're gonna be like, "What was that?" And I'll just be like, "Oh, it's John Cena." Doesn't your stream have John Cena? Like, come on.
No, and that's just it. You got to be able to stand out, and having John Cena rip through your wall and be like, "You sure about that?" Yes, I am sure about that.
It's so good. That one, and I don't know if you've seen it, but I have a dancing duck now for whenever people sub or do anything like that.
Yeah, no, I haven't
Because
seen it
I can't dance, and the dancing duck really makes up for it because I can't do the dances. I'm like, like I can't dance at all. I got no rhythm. But that duck, he can sure dance.
Oh god, I'm gonna have to see what that duck's all about. But
Okay.
obviously you must have made a lot of changes to your own stream, and in my opinion, the best way to work out what changes you need to do to the existing things that you've already got is to watch your own stream.
Yeah.
Have you watched your stream, and what did you change because of it?
I've watched way too many hours of my own stream, to be honest. I probably watch my own stream more than anybody else does. But there's a bunch of stuff that I've changed. Like because I go through my streams and I'll add stream markers. So instead of clipping things, I'll add the stream markers so I can go in the past broadcast and I can take out as much time as I want and do that kind of thing. So I'll go through and take out the bits that I want, and then I'll bring it to my editor and I'll look through and I'll watch through and try and edit like what I want, add whatever I want to make it kind of pop out, and then I can post it on like Twitter, TikTok, whatever. But like I'll sit there and I'll watch my own streams and I'll be like, God, I'm so cringe. How do people sit through this?
Oh my
This
god.
is so annoying. And I hate the sound of my own voice. That's something ever since I was a YouTuber, I've always hated the sound of my own voice. I want like a Keith David voice or something like
can
something
relate.
deep.
I can
And
relate
then
to
I
that.
have this like nasally voice where it's like, "Hey guys, SadBoyGee here, just doing another Persona stream," and I'm like, "Oh my god, I hate my voice." That's why I actually like whenever I'm able to do impressions. Like I don't know if you've ever seen Aqua Teen Hunger Force, but every now and then I'll throw in a Meatwad impression and be like, "Hey guys, welcome to the stream. How you doing? Everything all right?" Or do some Elmo like. It's just all kinds of random stuff. That's the time of my stream that I like, and then any time where it's just my plain old voice, I'm like, "Ugh, this guy again."
No,
But there's a bunch of stuff that I've added from just watching my own stream. Like, oh, this thing would be cool. Like another thing I do is I'll go onto YouTube and I'll look for short clips that I can use for pop-ups for my stream deck. And I have a playlist that's probably like 200 some videos or whatever of just like different things that I could use for pop-ups. So if I'm like, oh, I'm tired of this pop-up, I'm gonna exchange it for this video. Or like I have a bunch of just random nonsense. Some of it appropriate, some of it I have to edit to try and make appropriate because some of it's really bad, but it's all meme worthy and everything. But yeah, I definitely recommend watching your own stream to kind of get the perspective. What I tell people is go into your own stream, watch it as like a complete stranger, and get the idea of like a complete stranger, not like a follower or yourself or a family member that wants to support you. Go in at it as somebody that doesn't know you, that
be brutal.
doesn't want to support you. Yeah,
Be brutal. Yeah, and that's some good advice to give, to be honest, because that what you mentioned there actually makes a lot of sense. Because if you look at it from a perspective as someone that wants this channel that you're staring at to succeed, you're going to try your best to find the good bits, and you're not going to find the bad bits. But if you go in there like, I give me a reason to like this, then that's completely different. And if you watch your stream as if you're someone that's completely new, that doesn't actually want the channel that you're watching to succeed, you just want to see if you're interested in it, that's going to completely change the way that you look at it. And I like that.
Yeah, and I pick apart my stream all the time. I'll sit there and I'm like, I don't like my audio settings here. I need to add this filter so I sound a bit clearer, or I need to move my face cam over here so it's a bit better on the game, stuff like that. Like I'll just pick apart every little detail of it, and I'll be like, do I like this bit? Do I like this? Even some of like my like some of my clips that I edit for like Twitter and TikTok and stuff to try and gain a bit more exposure. Sometimes I'll watch those and I'm like, that could have been better if I would have done this, or that could have been better if I would have done that, and just pick apart like every little detail. And you gotta, whenever you watch too, I feel like you find things that you normally wouldn't think about. Like, oh, maybe the position of my cam looks a bit awkward because it's set up at an angle. I need to try and set it up where you can look at it more directly, or like you'll find little like details like that that's like no one in your chat's really thinking it and you're not really thinking it, but then whenever you go in and examine it with like a fresh eye, then it's kind of like, yeah, I can move this or that. Like right now I'm kind of satisfied with my face cam setup, but I do partially want to see if I can lower it so it's more direct up with my face. This is actually above my monitor and to an angle, so that's why I'm kind of looking this way, because my Discord's over here. But there's just like little things like that that I'll notice, or like sound effects, because I'll have sound effects pop-ups as well. And sometimes I'm like, yeah, that was a little too loud. I'm gonna turn this down so my voice is still over that sound effect and all that kind of thing.
I can literally every single thing that you just mentioned now, I have personally done myself. I used to have, so what I normally do to capture you where you are, I literally pop out the Discord on a separate window and put it on a separate screen, and I video capture that screen. So for example, you can see my mouse is just on that separate screen. I used to have my Discord open the screen directly below it and have the camera facing this way, but I'd be looking at the screen like this, and I thought to myself, why don't I just flip the camera around so it looks like I'm looking at the person? But then it just looked strange when I watched it afterwards, and I was like, no, that looks weird. Like, I'd much rather just move the Discord underneath the camera, boom, done.
Yeah, that's something that I want to work on, because I know I've had this set up for a few collabs here and there, and that's kind of one of the things that I want to work on, is moving it so that it looks like I'm looking at the people. I also need, another thing too is budget, because I wish I could have a third monitor, but between the computer and all the other stuff here, I can't really get a third monitor just yet, because right now I have a monitor for the consoles here, just a small, it's actually supposed to be a TV, but I use it as a monitor, and then I have my PC screen right here. So right now my face cam, what I could have done is I could have moved it over here, so then it would have been more direct, but I'm lazy, so
I can relate. I can relate.
I'm like, I'll get to that later. I procrastinate a lot. Like, I like to think of myself as a workaholic, but at the same time, I procrastinate a lot. If it's like a small little detail, if it's something big and I'm like, oh, I want to add this to my stream and this transition and these zooms here, all this and that, I'll be like, yeah, I can do that. But if it's like a small little thing, like, oh, I really need to put down this rug or whatever and do this, then I'm like, I'm super lazy.
I can fully agree with that. And similar to you, like, I would find something and I'd be like, I want to add that, but I don't want to add it just yet. I'm gonna put it on a back burner, and what's gonna happen is there's gonna be a time when I realize that I've got quite a few things on a back burner, and I think to myself, right, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna do it. And I sit there for hours on end trying to add things in, and I wouldn't just add like a single thing, because that single thing would have like a tree of the other things that would make it work behind it. And I'll do that to like 9 different things to try and make my stream slightly different, even if it is as simple as like changing a video format style that's playing in the background of my stream to be different, so that it affects less of my CPU usage, so that my recordings come out better. A viewer wouldn't see that at all, but I'm recorded in 1080, streaming in 1080 60, and I'm on 35% CPU usage.
Yeah, you think about that kind of stuff whenever you're actually looking through yourself, because as a viewer it's just like, oh, he has a really cool like frame around here, the background's really pretty, everything's relaxing. And then as a streamer it's like, okay, I need this video not to be choppy, and I need the frames to be smooth, I need everyone's voice to be clear.
Quite literally.
I try and work on that kind of stuff a lot, but sometimes I'll end up falling back a little bit. Like, I procrastinate a lot with like my clips, like I mentioned before. Right now I have, I think, 15 clips from this month that I've been meaning to edit, and I've just been like, I'll get to it later, and I've looked at it now. I edited one yesterday since I took yesterday off, and it was like one of my actual YouTube videos, and that was like 30 minutes or so of footage, or 40 minutes, and I was like, yeah, I got one done. Let's see how much more footage I gotta edit. And I'm like looking through, and I'm like, oh, I have 4 hours worth of footage to edit. This is awful. Stop procrastinating.
Yeah, quite literally. Like, there's 2 episodes of Infectious Thoughts that I've done that have been over 6 hours long, and although I have got an editor, right, I do try occasionally when I can wrap my head around it to just add some cut points at where the actual questions are, so that when he gets to it, it's not just 6 hours worth of footage. So
Yeah,
I do try and cut out the breaks, the 10-minute breaks, and and try and cut directly where the questions are, so that he can then choose from that what is actually going to go forward. And I've got
I need to do that.
I've got 2 of them that are over 6 hours long, and I know for a fact it's going to take me just as long to go through all of it, just to add where the questions are. And I'm not looking forward to that, and I've been putting it off for a while, but it is quite literally going to be within the next 2 or 3 videos that he has to edit, so I'm going to have to get onto it. I'm already feeling myself getting antsy about it.
Yeah, you get like antsy or like anxious whenever you're editing something that long. Like, I went through, I was gonna do that with my I uploaded a part 1 to a playthrough for the Medium onto my YouTube, and I was gonna go through and cut out like the BRB screens for whenever I took a restroom break and stuff like that, but I was like, I put it into my editor, and I was like, I don't even know where these BRB screens are, so that means I'm gonna have to just sit here and watch myself for 5 hours. Now I'll just upload the whole thing.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want to do that. And plus, usually my BRB screens aren't too long anyway, so I'm like, it'll give people a chance to get up and stretch their legs if they're actually watching the video, whatever.
Yeah, and you know what? That is a perfect segue into today's sponsor. I'm joking. No, it's just perfect segue into the break time that I normally have, because everyone's got to move around, got to stretch, got to grab a snack, toilet if you need be. But we'll see everyone back here in 10 minutes. See you in a bit.
No.
Hey yo people, how's everyone doing? We're back.
Hi, everyone. I haven't seen you guys in forever.
So I was typing oof in chat and I was gonna press the oof button, but I accidentally pressed the wrong button. And then it was like, oh, I love them times when you accidentally nut instead of oof.
It was a great time. It was weird seeing him have to clean up afterwards.
Oh my god.
Accidental nuts will get you.
No.
Accidental nuts, the story of my puberty years.
Oh my god.
No.
That was good.
Oh my god. Oh god. So, getting back on track then. Why did you choose the current platform that you're on, and why did you not just immediately start streaming to YouTube? Because obviously you said that you were a YouTuber originally.
Accidentally nutted on Twitch, so no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, I chose I chose Twitch because I feel like Twitch overall has a better I guess, community, I would say, than YouTube, because of YouTube right now, which Twitch is starting to see it now, especially since, like you said earlier, it's getting saturated now with everyone, especially last year, trying to find things to do. I feel like YouTube, whenever I was over there for the year and a half that I was over there, most of my traction from like new people, it was mostly people that either weren't interested in actually supporting you, so they'd give you like a fake comment of like, oh, good video, and they'd only watch like 20 seconds of your video or whatever, or like people trying to sub for subs, stuff like that, which you see a little bit of that here on Twitch. But I felt like after spending a year and a half and getting like nowhere over on YouTube and trying to do Twitch, and I've seen a lot better results on Twitch. Like for somebody that just started streaming in October and had to take like December off, and already being at like, I think I'm at 300 or something followers or something like that, compared to YouTube where I spent a year and a half and I only had, I want to say I had 120 subscribers by the time I quit. But I feel like overall, Twitch is just a better platform, I'd say. It needs its improvements. Some of its like TOS rules are kind of off, and there is a bit of favoritism here and there. In some places, discoverability could be a lot better. But whenever you actually like, get to, like know how to market and everything, and know how to actually grow with your community, I feel like I've just had a way better time on Twitch. It feels more promising, and I feel like it'll stick around in comparison to, well, not to say that YouTube wouldn't stick around, but I feel like the main three that are popular right now being Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. I feel like Facebook is just kind of weird. I don't really like the idea of streaming to Facebook.
I can agree with that one myself as well, yeah.
It's kind of uncomfortable. I know some streamers that stream on Facebook, and they say it's actually a lot better than Twitch as far as discoverability. But I don't know. I feel like from what I've seen from Facebook streams, it's kind of weird. It doesn't feel like there's genuine people on there, and the people that I do see on there, as far as like in comments and stuff, the people I do see on there, I don't know, I feel like it's just a weirder platform. And I know that since I wouldn't use Facebook to watch streams, then I wouldn't stream on there myself. And same kind of with YouTube. I wouldn't go to YouTube to watch streams. I use YouTube to solely watch YouTube videos and stuff. So like for me, it just kind of felt natural to kind of stick with Twitch, because that's what Twitch was designed for and everything. I feel like they have a more sturdy, better idea of how to move forward with their platform in comparison to YouTube that feels like it just kind of followed Twitch's steps, and same with Facebook really, except Facebook I find is a bit weirder.
I can agree with the Facebook one. I'm not 100% like, the one thing that you said that I can take away from that is that you didn't go to Facebook to watch live streams, and you didn't go to YouTube to watch live streams, so you went to the platform that you want to use for live streams. And I can fully agree with that, because I tried to watch someone live on Facebook, and it like you said, it just felt weird.
It feels really weird.
But one thing I will say about YouTube is that they are making strides, like very large strides, with their current like live streaming. And it is definitely gone across my mind as to whether I'd like to make a change over to YouTube. I will be honest, because they're making a lot of strides that way, and Twitch isn't making as many strides as of late.
Not anymore. So I think I've been slightly considering having like 1 or maybe 2 days, because I stream like 4 days a week. So I've considered having 1 or 2 days a week where I streamed over on YouTube, because I actually considered it for Facebook for a while. Because I've always been told that Facebook's discoverability is just so much better, because a lot of people are of the same opinion. They find streaming on Facebook a little weird, so there's not as much competition over there. And plus, like, if you stream games like like for me, for example, the games I'm streaming right now, the main one is Persona 5 Royal. That's not exactly a mainstream game. So if I streamed it on Facebook, hypothetically, I would be like probably one of the top people on the list. The problem with like Facebook, I feel like for me is like I wouldn't watch a stream because on Facebook because people on my friends list could see like what stream I'm watching and they could see all the comments and everything. Like people could essentially just kind of spy on what I'm doing or what I'm saying to a streamer. Whereas I feel like on Twitch, I kind of have like Twitch and YouTube. I'm a bit more comfortable because I don't have like grandparents or whatever stalking me on there to be like, oh, what's he saying in Ghost Killer 636's chat? Oh, he's talking about butt stuff. Okay, that's our grandson. Like, I don't have to deal with that on YouTube or Twitch.
Quite literally, yeah. Because I mean, I've done some very questionable things on here, but I'm happy to know that my parents do not go to Twitch. They are on Facebook, but I'm not there, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I've had actually, because I had to turn in for taxes over here. I had to fill out a form for Twitch taxes. And I went to my sister for it because she was supposed to help me with my taxes. And she's like, what's Twitch? And I'm like, don't ever go onto that site. Don't look for me on that site.
Nope.
I don't want you there. I like it there because you're not there. I love you because you're my sister, but I like it because you're not there. So don't go on there.
100%, yes.
I'm like, because I'm not a big family person, to be honest. Like, I like my family, but I'm not very close with my family. Even growing up, I was always into video games and stuff, and they were like, oh, what are you playing? Are you playing the Halos? Are you playing the Call of Booties? And I'm like, I'm playing a game called Borderlands. Oh, what's a Borderlands? Is that like Pokemon? No. God, okay. You people don't get me.
Don't worry about it.
Don't even worry about it.
Oh god. So what would you say is like your style on Twitch and what is your style on YouTube? Is there a difference between the two of them?
So I just started uploading onto my YouTube. So far I've uploaded like stream highlights, and like I did my part 1 of the medium playthrough, which was actually an entire stream, and I just uploaded the stream. But I have a video that I'm going to be posting in like 3 days probably. It's kind of a challenge. So like on PlayStation and Xbox they have like the trophy and achievement lists and stuff like that. So I've decided on YouTube to do a series where I challenge myself to get these trophies, preferably the hardest ones I can find out of a trophy list, and then for some reason punish myself after trying to go and get them, and then record it so people can laugh at my pain and stuff. And so far, I'm pretty proud of the video. The videos on my YouTube, they're probably going to stick with a shorter format, kind of more just kind of me trying to think of a good way of saying it. Kind of just being goofy or whatever, trying to make it as funny as possible so people can like see me and just kind of laugh at what I'm doing or whatever, since most of it's going to be challenges and stuff, so they can kind of laugh at me rather than with me. Whereas I feel my streams are more of a let's meme as much as we can while we chat and have real discussions and everything. So it's more of a laughing with me type of thing. I try and make my streams like as comfortable and realistic as possible. We were talking about like the streamer persona thing earlier. I feel like I definitely talk, like we said, you talk during games. You wouldn't talk by yourself though. Yeah. But as far as like my actual personality, I try and tend to be fairly blunt. Not that I'm like a bad person or a mean person, but I don't like, there's some streamers out there that'll kiss your butt a lot to try and be a likable person and stuff like that. I'm kind of more of like, oh, you're a really cool person. But if you did something that like kind of triggered me, I'll be like, hey, quit being an asshole in my chat. Don't be doing that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you have to put on just like, Kate put in chat is like, yeah, stream Sona. Like you gotta have that persona when you go online. You gotta be the person that is in charge, essentially. Yeah.
And kind of the vibe that I go for with my streams is the more just like, I just try and be as much of myself as possible, which I usually just like making people laugh and stuff. So I'll say just random things. Like I told you before I think we started streaming, I have that pop up with the nut command as well, where it's the nut button and it accidentally came onto my face, and I was like, get this nut off my face, and I panicked and I tried to pull it off before it like went on. And it's like I try and do kind of the meme stuff, like things that I would say like I get described for with my chat. Like part of the reason people watch my streams is that I'm always talking. Like I literally talk a lot. I ramble a lot. You might be thinking right now that I'm rambling for a long time, but it's one of the things that I'm known for on my channel, and that's what people typically like about my streams is I'm actually, even though I'm playing a game, I'm actually talking a lot and I'm interacting more with the chat than I am focusing on the game.
That's the whole point of Twitch. Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I can fully agree with you on that one. You have to be able to talk continuously, essentially. Like whenever you're live, you have to be engaging. People have to go in and be like, well, what's he talking about? Nothing. Oh, he's just playing this game. He's not even talking about what he's doing on the game. Nothing. It's just boring. I'll move on to the next person that's actually talking. So yeah, 100%. That is definitely a good skill to have. I fully agree.
Yeah, and one of the I was actually inspired. I hear people ask a lot, like, what's a content creator that inspired you? I always say that the content creator that inspired me the most was a YouTuber. He actually works for a company now. He works for Achievement Hunter, but I'm trying to remember like his actual YouTube name. I always go by his real name because that's what he's most known for now, is Michael Jones. He streams on Twitch now, but he works at Achievement Hunter, and whenever they did like Let's Plays and stuff like that, I would always watch his videos and everything, and he did like Let's Play series of some of my favorite games like Dead Space and Banjo-Kazooie, stuff like that. And something that he'd always say in like streams and stuff is like, well, not streams, but his videos at the time, this was before I even knew about Twitch, was just how important it is to like talk and have something to say rather than just sit there in silence and play the game. So since watching his videos for so many years and everything and kind of getting that mindset, I kind of just went with what he basically said. Like, if you have something to say, tell a story. You don't always have to say things to the game. It could just be like you telling a story like, oh, I went to Arby's and they gave me a salad. And I was like, why would you give me a salad? I don't eat salad. That's rabbit food or whatever. Like some type of story, or have something to say.
Just in general, like, just talk continuously. Yeah. 100%.
And from watching him, that's kind of where I got like the vibe that I want to go for. Minus his, like, he had some rage quit videos that he did. I don't really rage quit, but like stuff like that is just like, I just want to have that chill kind of environment where I just kind of talk, which I know a lot of streamers go for that. So that's kind of a little generic, but I feel like the difference between like my stream and like what a lot of other people are doing is that I'm more just kind of honest. And if I have, like, hypothetically speaking, if I have a bad day, I'll go ahead and tell chat about, like, you know, what happened during my day. I don't go into deep details and try and like depress anybody or be like, oh, sympathy, I need sympathy. Nothing like that. I'm just like, yeah, work was rough. I had a coworker yell at me. I had this like customer yell at me or whatever. A lot of streamers, I feel like they try so hard to kind of give off that like I'm always happy persona, that they're not realistic enough where it feels like you're talking to a real person. Sometimes it feels like you're just talking to an automated machine that's just built to design to kind of kiss up to you.
Noise, yeah, 100%. Yeah, you gotta be true to yourself, and that is yeah, I can fully agree with that. But with my little questionnaire here, I like to sprinkle in a couple little just completely off topic questions, and we've just got to one of them. So what is your biggest fear? And I'm gonna close my window because I'm freezing.
The biggest fear, I have like two big fears. One of them, actually no, I have three feers. One, spiders. I hate spiders. Spiders are awful little creatures.
What, any size?
Sharks. Any size. If they could be that big, and I'm gonna jump out of my chair and scream. No, I'll be like, nah, I hate spiders so much. Second one's shark, which doesn't make any sense. They're totally different things. And I live in like the middle of the US, so I'm not around any ocean. But I've only said if I go travel someplace like Florida or anything, I'm not getting in the water. I've seen Jaws. I know what that stuff's like. I'm no sharks for me. Third fear would probably, which is kind of relatable to everything we've been talking about, but third fear would definitely be like getting canceled on the internet and like having your face put out there as like the guy did this, and then you'll forever be known as the guy that did this thing without anyone ever considering what you actually did or stuff like that. I see some people get canceled over the littlest things, and then you go and actually do the research, and it's like, oh, this thing actually came on topic. He didn't actually do this, but he's already been canceled, so now his reputation has gone down the gutter. I fear getting canceled sometimes because like I see that, and it's like I've seen it genuinely affect some people. Like I've heard of people that have been canceled that weren't able to get like a real job because like their interviewers or whatever actually seen them, and they were like, oh no, we're not hiring you because you did this thing on like a totally unrelated note and stuff, depending on how big it gets. And it's like that kind of stuff scares me. Like the internet, I guess, would be my third kind of fear, which is crazy because I'm on it all the time. But you can never underestimate the power of the internet. The internet could literally, it could be all for you or it could be all against you. It's kind of a weapon on of itself. It's kind of scary to mess with.
I can fully agree with you on that one, 100%. That is, yeah, just like you said, it can be like your best friend or your worst enemy. Like there's a fine line between them, and the internet can be that fine line. Like, yeah.
I was telling you earlier with my friend that would always say stuff just to make me bleep it out. I was very picky with what we talked about in the videos back then because I was like, I don't want anybody to see like you talking about this and then us get canceled because of this topic that you talked about that really isn't bad, but somebody like 5 years from now can find it and take it and be like, hey, this guy said this thing 5 years ago, and then he be canceled. I see it happen all the time from people, like especially more so with celebrities, but you see it happen every now and then with just casual people where they said something dumb that they probably shouldn't have said like 7 or 8 years ago, and then some random person for some reason was scrolling all the way bottom of their Twitter feed and found like, oh, did you know Nicolas Cage said that these people can't eat sandwiches, and then he gets canceled over it. And I'm like, that's kind of scary.
Yeah.
People can just drag up on you for just random things that you had no idea. That's why I always say always be careful about the things you say, because you never know when it's going to turn around and backfire on you.
You never know who's going to look at it. Yeah.
That goes for real life too, because that kind of stuff can happen IRL just as well as it can on the interwebs. You can never be too careful. Gotta choose your words wisely.
100%. Sandwiches, but I eat sandwiches.
I love sandwiches.
Oh god! But in the spirit of obviously upgrading your stream and your online presence, and just like you said in the previous questions, I was talking about how you couldn't actually edit any videos past like 25 minutes because of the computer that you had, but you must have changed some hardware. I want to know, what did you start off with and what have you changed since? What hardware do you have now?
So as far as like specific tech names, I couldn't give you that because I'm not a computer person, so I can't tell you everything that's in my big metal box here. But I paid about $3,000 for this computer. That's always the face I get whenever I say that. I put like $3,000 into this computer, and then I actually still plan on making another one so I can have a dual PC setup to edit videos and to do that kind of stuff. I'm gonna let you react to that. And then depending on if you count these, I recently got an Xbox S Series and a PS5 so that I can stream games on there. Plus I had my PS4 from before and my Nintendo Switch. I have my face cam here, which I plan on upgrading that to the Sony. I can't remember what the model is called, but there's a Sony camera that a lot of streamers use that I plan on getting.
It's the
And then
A5100.
yeah, that's what I need to
Okay.
invest in that. I think that'll be my next one, but
What I will say is, what camera do you think I'm using now?
see, it's hard to tell. Part of the reason that I want that camera is more so for YouTube videos, because then I could take it around the room for me. Like, I'm using a Logitech right now, which that might be what you're using.
I'm using a C920.
Okay, yeah, like I have the Logitech. What is this? I don't know the model of it. It's one of the newer models of a Logitech face webcam, which that's what I use, and I think it does okay. The only thing that I dislike, well, there's two things I dislike about it. I hate the program for it because they updated the program and now it runs super slow. But outside of that, I would like to be able to position it in better places. I've actually removed like the stand it came with because it didn't fit anywhere for me. I'd like try and set it on my desk, all this and that. So I actually have this long, like, long's a bad word to describe it, but it looks like a lamp thing that you put the Logitech on top of and you screw it on there. So that's why it looks kind of down at me. But I think the Logitech and stuff like that, like the webcams, they usually work fine, especially if you're just using it as a webcam on your stream, because it's not going to get all that quality from one of those big cameras. So it kind of just depends.
What I will say is, before you go ahead and you buy yourself one of those big fancy cameras, I will say is, it is all to do with lighting. I've currently got 3 lights on me right now, and it matters a lot, because my camera could look like trash if I turn off. For example, if I just reduce the lighting here, I'm already starting to look better. Oh, sorry, not better, worse. But I'm only on 20%, for example, and I've got these big fancy bells and whistles lights, and they do the job really well. But at the same time, directly above me is quite literally a camping light that has been duct taped to a cell phone holder. I'm not, look, I'll show you right now. It is the trashiest thing.
Oh wow.
Like, quite literally. So it's not all about how much money you spend on some of these expensive things. Sometimes all you need is a camping light and a USB.
Yeah, the lights are definitely, that's actually something, like, way before I ever invest in like a better camera. I need to get a better ring light, because this one, I don't know if it's either about to explode on me or if it's haunted, but every now and then it has these flickering fits. It doesn't go completely off, but you can tell the brightness like changes rapidly. And I'm like, whenever I was playing through the medium and it was doing that, I was like, oh, the ghosts are actually in the real world with me. I'm gonna die, guys. Call my mom, tell her I leave her nothing and I want to be buried with all my valuables. But I've had, whenever I first started, I had a different microphone, and I had a microphone stand that I actually used for recording music and stuff, like for whenever I actually went out and did stuff. And I actually used that to mount my old microphone on too. But it wasn't quite built for it, so the microphone would actually kind of hang off the end of it.
Oh god.
And I'd have to like, yeah, it was scary because it was like right above my face, and I was like, one of these days this microphone is gonna fall and hit me right in the crotch. I'm gonna cry on stream. That's the only time you all are ever gonna see me shed tears on stream is whenever my microphone falls on me. But thankfully it never did. But I had to like jury rig it where I put scotch tape on the inside of the like screw thing that you'd use to mount on the microphone, so that it would stay on there a bit like more straight. And I even right now, this green screen that I have set up, I normally don't stream with it, but I set it up for the time being. This thing, there aren't actually hooks on my my green screen stand, So I had to go and find hair clips, and I had to clip it onto the poles of the green screen thing. Otherwise, I could just do like this and pull the whole green screen down.
That
Sometimes, it's better just to improvise. Sometimes it's kind of cool to see the way people improvise stuff.
it is all about the improvisation. Like my first ever stream light was actually a bit of square pipe that I cut in half along the lengthway of it, and then I literally just got like strip LED lighting and just ran it backwards and forwards inside of it. I put like 8 meters worth of strip lights in there, and then used a bit of toilet paper as a light diffuser, and it worked. Okay, it wasn't the greatest thing because the amount of blue light that it literally emitted dried my eyeballs, and I'm so thankful that I've got these ones now. I will say that, because back in the day, I would be hurting by now. 100%.
But like I told you earlier, I tried streaming a little bit before, like a couple of years ago, under a different name, and I got a place. I was streaming straight from the PlayStation through using that share button thing, because they added that, and they added an option to Chrome key so that you could cut out the background for your face cam. And I was like, all right, how am I going to do this? I can't afford a proper green screen, because for some reason they try and sell these things for like 100, $200. It's crazy. I don't know why.
Green bed
But
sheet.
I was like, how do I make a green screen? So I had a chair similar to this one. It's not the same one, thankfully. I had a chair similar to this one. I went out and bought a big styrofoam cutout thing that was pretty wide, and I believe I put a piece of wood on the middle side of it, on the back side, and I duct taped it to my chair. I duct taped the whole thing to my chair, and I had this big like styrofoam green screen behind my chair, and I was like, all right, this is my green screen. Downside, because I did this a lot, you could see the room
corners
every time
occasionally. Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I'm just doing this, and they're like, did you duct tape something to your chair? And I'm like,
No.
no. Duct tape something to your chair. Because I tried to hide it. I was like, man, this setup looks so weird. I was like trying to hide it and stuff, because I was like, I don't want people to meme me and be like, oh, look at his setup. But now looking back on it, I'm like, man, that was like some of the coolest stuff. I wish I didn't have this so I could do that again, because that was cool.
100%. And do you know what? That actually leads on perfectly to my next question, because one thing I love hearing is just how different these answers are. So I want to know, what is a massive change that you've made that, in your opinion, has had little to no impact? And on the other side of that coin, what's a little change that you've made that has made a massive impact on your actual streaming?
Oh man, I gotta think about that one, because there's so many like little things that I get excited for, where I'm like, yeah, I added this thing, it's so cool, and then I go live, and it's like it may not even get mentioned ever, and I'm like, you guys like my thing here that I made? It's so cool, so pretty. Do you like it? Please give me something, give me a hug, something. I need I'm trying to think. I think one of my biggest like changes that I was like really excited for, because normally right now I have boxes and stuff I'm like currently rearranging, so you can't see it right now, but I bought like, whenever I started taking this seriously, I bought like a rug, a shelf thing that I'm gonna put like games and collectibles on. I wanted to get like a proper streaming room setup thing, and I was super excited. I got these red lights that make my room look like all red, because that's part of my channel theme, is the red colors. It goes for like a red emo Android kind of theme, is the kind of theme of my channel. And I like got all this stuff, and I was super excited about it. I was like, yeah, let's go. And I went like a week before people realized that I even did any of that. It's like, oh wow, that's crazy. And it wasn't because I didn't have anybody there to say it. They were just like, oh, so you're putting like stuff in the background now, I guess. I was like, yes, finally somebody noticed. Yes, there. You can't see anything in the bookshelf because it's at an angle, but I'll change it one day. But and another thing, I actually added voice changers to my stream, and I was so excited. And one of my viewers, one of my regulars, hates it whenever I use the voice changer. Says they can't understand what I'm saying or whatever, that they find the voices annoying. And I was like, oh, but it's so fun. I just want to sound like a chipmunk and say I want to like make love to you or something. Just let me use it.
Right? Like, I don't see any reason why anyone wouldn't want.
Me to sound like an absolute chipmunk. I don't understand. Like, it's just funny.
Yeah. It's funny. It's funny. You could do like the chipmunk, the Thanos, the T-Pain. One of my favorite clips on my channel. I'll have to send it to you sometime so you can kind of see some of the clips that I've made. I had a drunk stream on my birthday back in December whenever I came back to streaming, and I stood on my chair. I tried to do a little twerk thing, and I had the T-Pain voice on, and I was reading somebody's pizza order, and I was like, I was singing their pizza order that they ordered from Pizza Hut, and I was singing it, and I was like, order me this pizza for my booty. And I was like, I thought that was hilarious. And then like I had that one no one else really minds the voice changer, but my one regular, they're like, oh, it's so annoying, I can't understand what you're saying. I'm like, chill for a second, I'm having fun.
just literally just be like,
deal with it.
Yeah. That's what I want to say, but it's like I know it annoys them, so I'm like, I tried to use it a fair amount but not too much. But one of the small changes that I added, which I didn't think was going to be that popular, was I told you earlier, I have a dancing duck that pops up on my stream sometime because I can't dance, and I like to pop it up there in celebration to things. And I added that, and I was like, yeah, that's pretty funny. That shouldn't be a big deal. And then I did my 12-hour stream to celebrate my milestone a few weeks back. And I hit that button. I was like, hey, here's a dancing duck for you guys because I can't dance. I got no rhythm. And literally everyone in the chat, I was going through my first ever hype train as well. And everyone in the chat was like, more duck, more duck. And I was like, oh, so my channel is going to be about ducks now, is it? It's going to be all about ducks. We're going to be SadBoyGee here, streaming Duck Simulator, trying to get them juicy duck views.
100%. But do you know what has been your favorite streams to date and why?
As far as mine,
Yeah.
I think my favorite streams honestly are probably some of my more tame streams that they're probably not for everybody, but I've had the best feedback from them and I have the most fun is my Persona 5 streams that I've been doing for the past like basically since January. I've been trying to go through that game, and like I told you, I'm like 130 hours in, and I'm only like a little over halfway through the game. But because of it being so long, it's been like an adventure for the whole community to set through, and like everyone's gotten to see me play it for a little bit. And it's a lot more about like dialogue and everything and decision making, so I'm able to focus on the chat a lot more. So we've just had more like conversations back and forth with each other while I'm playing the game. Whereas like some games, which I like these games too, but like streaming Spider-Man or something that's really action based, you can't really focus on the chat as much. Like
that actually goes into one of my questions for later. But yeah, 100%. Yeah, I can agree with you.
Yeah. So like some of the games that are more tame, where you can actually focus on talking with chat and focus on the game equally, if chat even more, because I talk a lot anyway, so I'm always focusing on chat more. I feel like those are my favorite streams and favorite streams to watch myself, like as far as other people's streams as well. I like watching streams where they're actually having conversations with their chat rather than sitting there talking with like the people that they're playing with while they play Dead by Daylight or Call of Duty and stuff like that. Those ones are fun, but I feel like they're not as memorable because you might get like a funny moment here and there that they might clip, and that's great and all, but you don't build as much of a connection with those people whenever you're just talking with like your DVD group or something like that. So it's definitely like Another one that I want to try is like streaming Minecraft. I thought about doing like a chill Minecraft day at some point where I can just have people join the game and talk with me or just play the game casually, whatever, and actually build on the connection. So that's definitely where a lot of people, where at least I like, is like actually building connections with people. I constantly like DM like people in my community and stuff like that just to see how they're doing. So that's definitely what I want to do.
And I will speak to you about something that you've just mentioned after the stream. May have a bit of a proposal for you.
Okay.
Yeah, I won't mention it on
Sounds
stream.
interesting.
I won't mention it on stream, but it's in the works. So we'll see how that goes. But I'll put it forward to you. But
Sounds exciting. Hopefully it's not the nut from earlier.
nah. But this next question has got rules. Okay, so I want to know the positive names. Okay, so I want to know the positive names and the positive things that you took from them. However, the bad names I don't want to hear. I don't want to start any beef. But the bad qualities that they had, I do want to hear. And the question that relates to is, who have you worked with, collaborated with, or just been in a stream with that you thought was an absolute like inspiration, like was just awesome to be around, just cool to be with, you just had a great time. And then on the other side of that coin, who have you worked with that you thought to yourself like, huh, why did I do this to myself? Never again will I do this.
Oh man, I got a list. Let me get the book.
No, no,
I'm playing.
the Death Note's coming out. Like,
this one. Nah, I'd say the first person that came to mind is actually, I would say he's one of my best friends. I'd say is actually the North Star. I mentioned him earlier. I've actually been collaborating with him since I did YouTube originally. So for about, oh man, going on a decade probably. Like we've known each other forever, and we're like the type that we'll talk just to casually talk, like off stream or off video recording or whatever. Like we'll sit there. I remember one day we literally played Yu-Gi-Oh! Like we played the card game through a game that was on the PS4. We played that for like 24 hours straight. Not recording, not streaming. We just sat there and played Yu-Gi-Oh! Together. And I sat there and got my butt kicked because he's a lot better at it than me, because I can't think 2 steps ahead of me. But he had it all. Like he was just kicking my butt. He was having fun. We've had so many like good times. He's always a good laugh. He's like one of the I'd say he's one of the people that has kept me in like content creating. I feel like without him, I probably would have just been like, oh, I'm not built for content creating, because I've had like issues with like self-worth, or like saying my content is good enough and stuff like that. And having him around and just us like vibing with each other, same energy and everything, same sense of humor, and him just like actually telling me like, oh yeah, I like your videos, or I like your streams, like they're top notch, all this and that. Like I felt like that's kept me going forward. So definitely him for sure, as far as one of them that's helped me stick around for a long time. And there's a bunch of other there's a bunch of people. I rarely have bad incidents of like bad collaborations. I can name one, but I'm obviously not going to say their name.
okay.
There was a collab I did a while back on a co-op game, and the guy was great. Like I liked him, but he definitely wasn't the type of person for streaming. He was like constantly talking over me while I was like trying to talk to chat. Constantly just like interrupting me. Like I would like try and commentate something. Basically, he was doing the one thing that I had, where he was talking a lot and talking too much, and then that made it where I couldn't say anything in general to my chat, which made it. That's why I kind of whenever it comes to streaming and streaming with multiple people, I try and limit it to like 2 or 3 people max, because then you can like kind of mute your mics or whatever. Like there isn't too many people where it's like just a constant like voices everywhere. like 1, 2, 3 people isn't too bad. But whenever I streamed with like people like that, I typically have had the most issues with if they're not like considerate of your stream and everything. They're not considerate of like your rules or like what your stream vibe is, or they're just constantly talking over you and you're not able to get in like 2 words even.
100%.
I feel like that's usually
Yeah, because I've had that myself where I've had to learn very quickly that there's some people that you have to really manage their energy because of who they are as a person. They may not be like ideal for your stream and the way that you're used to streaming. So you're not just putting out there your own personality, you're actually controlling their personality on your stream as well, because they're going to have just as much on your of an influence on your viewers as you are, because they're going to be a majority of the words that's being said there. And I can fully agree with you, once it gets past 3 or 4 people, it starts to get a bit crazy. And it definitely is something that I personally definitely struggle with. But
it's something that is really hard to deal with because, like you said, you have to kind of control them. And I even see bigger streamers struggle with it. Like some of the people that are already partnered kind of struggle with this kind of stuff. Is they'll let people join their game, but their friends, or it could just be random viewers that they're streaming with, it doesn't match their vibe, and then it totally throws off the tone. Like I've noticed with my multiplayer streams, I like doing the multiplayer streams. I think they're fun and great, but something that I've been working on is trying to maintain my talkative, like constantly interacting with chat while I'm doing multiplayer games, because I've noticed the past couple of multiplayer streams I've done, I tend to focus a little bit more on the game than chat, and I seen a huge difference whenever I did that. In comparison, like I don't always like pay attention to numbers, but I'll go through and I'll check after stream to see what was like good, I guess, or what went well with viewership and everything like that. And I noticed whenever I streamed like Persona, for example, where I was able to talk with chat and everything and I was able to focus on them, my average viewer was like, hypothetically speaking, since I don't remember the actual number, was like 18 to 20, something like that. And it was really good and really flowing. And then the very next day, whenever I streamed, I think it was Rogue Company or something like that, and I was with a group of people and we were all chatting, the analytics after that, the average viewer was like 3 viewers and then comments only here and there. And I was like, that's a huge difference. I went through and I watched my stream and I was like, oh yeah, that's where I'm messing up in these multiplayer streams. Like they're good, they're entertaining, they weren't like boring. It's just that I need to train myself to actually focus more on chat whenever I'm playing these multiplayer games while still focusing on the game. Because if I'm just focusing on the game, since my viewership I feel like is built on my interaction with people, if I'm not doing that, then nobody wants to come watch that, because I'm not exactly a skilled gamer either. So it's not like they come to watch me play games, they come to talk to me.
100%. I can fully agree with that. I'm actually personally guilty of that myself. So yeah, 100% relatable to that. But what we'll do now is I'll ask you a question. I'll give you time to think about it whilst we have a break. And that question is, I want to know, what is your death row meal? I'm talking starter, mains, and dessert. What are you having? And we will find out after this short little break. See you all soon, people. Oh, hold on. I pressed the wrong button. God damn it. Keeping. Oh, God.
Wrong, but
I got all stuff in my beard and everything. I ate a tiny little bit of cake that my mum's brought in. It was all in my beard and everything.
same.
Oh, God. But speaking of food, I asked you, what was your death row meal? Starter, mains, dessert. What is your answer?
All right. I made a list because my brain doesn't remember things from 5 seconds ago. So
relate.
starter, starter would be, I don't know if you've ever had it, but Taco Bell. I would order the nacho fries because nacho fries are like the bay of all French fries. They're like the best fries I've ever had.
Yeah.
The main course would be taco pizza. I love taco pizza. It's the best kind of pizza.
Oh.
And then dessert would definitely have to be Reese's peanut butter cups because that's like part of my brand, and cookie dough ice cream. I would be going out in style at least.
Okay. I got time for those answers, 100%. I mean, nacho cheese on anything is up there
So
with me.
good. I love nacho fries. The nacho fries forever. Yes, they're the best. And they took them off the
100%.
menu, and it's literally made me the saddest person on the planet. Now the sad boy part of my name is more realistic than it's ever been because they took those off the menu.
So, that's the reason why it's sad, boys, because the nacho cheese fries are gone.
Yeah. Whenever those were on the menu, it was actually just G, and then I added sad boy because I've been sad ever since.
Oh God, brilliant.
They're so
Well,
good.
it's a respectful answer. I like it. But
I literally love all that stuff.
if you had to say something that you are good at and something that you're bad at in regards to your online presence, what would it be?
I have to think about this for a second. I would say one thing that I would say that I'm two things. I'll pat myself on the back a little bit. Two things that I think I'm okay at or good at would be, one would just be like we were talking earlier, being able to talk consistently and constantly going and rambling on. Because I know a bunch of people, I was talking about it with somebody on Twitter. For some people, it's kind of an adjustment to be able to talk for a long period of time, especially 3, 4, 8 hours, whatever, just consistently having topics to talk about. I feel like the experience from YouTube and just that like long time there and then over here and watching so many people, I feel like my brain is kind of adapted to just constantly talking, which is kind of crazy because whenever I was younger, I was the quiet kid that didn't say anything. So now I'm the guy that everyone's like, shut up. But now I've constantly got stuff to say. So I definitely say one of the things I'm good at is definitely talking and being able to just keep the flow going. The second thing I would say that I'm decent at, I would say, and maybe this is just from my perspective, maybe other people don't think this at all, but I feel like I'm good at like hyping other people up, I would say, in terms of like whenever I was modding for like the last 2 years, or just whenever I'm in people's chat now, I feel like I've helped some people's like chats kind of go off a bit more, or like tried to make things a bit more hype for them so that they could keep going at the same flow and everything. I've helped quite a few people out. I've had some people message me and been like, oh, thanks for chatting, you really helped me out there, all this and that. I've helped quite a few people out, I would say, in terms of trying to help their stream quality, and I've helped a bunch of people with tech stuff, like showing them how to do the face cam zoom and all that kind of tech stuff. I've been trying my best to help people with that stuff, even though I'm still learning it myself. I'm still go out of my way sometime to help other people learn it as well. I'd say that's one thing I'm definitely good at. The one thing I just now thought about, one thing that I'm horrible about, is time management. It's like my brain just can't wrap around time management. I can't schedule anything. Like I love trying to do collabs and I want to do more, but between everything that I want to do in a short span of a day, like like I said, I get home from work about 1:30 and then trying to go to bed about 8:30, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to fit everything I want to do in that short time frame is the most challenging thing I've ever had to experience. It's like I'll get home, shove food in my face, shove food in my face. Try and
Okay,
stuff that
time to game.
yeah. Like the mask from the Jim Carrey movie, just puts it on. Then after I eat, I try and stream for at least 4 hours, and somehow after that, I try and edit videos and stuff by the end of the night while I'm watching other people's streams during my eating and editing, at least. And sometimes I'll have some lurks up during my actual streams, but like between all that, and then I still want to try and plan like collabs and everything, and like plan this thing here and this thing here. I just constantly, it's something that I'm working on. A lot of people even in my community know that I'm really bad at planning things because I've been streaming since October and I literally cannot tell you the days that I stream. I have to look on my Twitch channel every day to see what my own schedule is that I've made because I don't know. I'm just like, do I stream today? Oh, I'm off 2 days. Okay, what am I gonna do for 2 days? I'm a stream. like I don't know what to do. That's one thing I'm definitely working on. Another thing I'd say that I'm working on, like one other thing which I feel like some people can relate with, is whenever like they have tech issues or they have a bad stream, for example. Maybe somebody did something really negative. I had that happen a few weeks ago. I had a viewer that literally spoiled the ending to, well, not quite the ending, but a big plot twist in Detroit Become Human. They spoiled like a big major storyline to it. And my mood was like from here, and then it just went like way down past the floor, like into the gravel. It was gone. All my motivation was just gone. And I feel like that's something that I want to work on, is being able to handle negative things a bit better, because I tend to, if I have something really bad happen, my mood just kind of dies down drastically. And I wish I was better about that, because I know some people, they're able to like bounce up, just brush it off and be like, okay, I'm gonna continue streaming for 3 hours. But for me, it's like I tend to be, maybe I'm a bit too sensitive, I don't know, but it seems like whenever I have some type of tech issue or somebody like does something like that in the chat and it really gets to me for once, it's kind of like it kind of kills my spirit a little bit. That's one thing I definitely want to work on.
That's something that a lot of content creators need to kind of adopt as they get on and on, is building that hard shell. That is going to be one of the hardest things to do, because things get to us, like it literally happens all the time. The amount of stuff that could possibly get me down happens all the time, and you just got to be able to just like, okay, right, let's move on. Like it was all right, but let's move on, essentially.
Yeah, and it's like trolls don't bother me. Trolls can come in and be like, "Oh, you're a skinny wuss, me," and I'm like, "Yeah, I am. I look like a toothpick. What are you gonna do about it? You want to fight? You want to fight about it? I'll fight you." I'm like, I don't care about trolls. Trolls don't bother me. It's usually like tech stuff, especially tech stuff, because I'm always wanting to give out the best kind of content that I can give out. And whenever I have like audio issues, like, "Oh, your mic is staticky," or "Oh, your face cam is like out of sync," or "The quality of the stream's bad, there's lag on the stream," really just kills my mood. I've been getting better about it. Like I've had a stream recently where my bitrate was just all over the place and I couldn't even it out, but I've been working on it a little bit. I've been getting a bit better, and I agree, like being a content creator, you kind of have to have thick skin, because otherwise you're gonna get burnout on just like having to deal with negative stuff. It's gonna have lasting effects and everything, and if you don't have the thick skin required to do like this kind of stuff, you just wouldn't last long, I feel like. Which is kind of brutal to say, but I think it's the truth. I feel like a lot of people tend to just leave because they get too much negative stuff, and then they say that they don't like it.
Yeah, 100%. Top tips right there, people. You got to, if you want to be an online presence, you want to be anyone online, you got to build up a tough skin, because it happens. It happens. You're gonna come across those people. You just got to be able to brush it off and carry on, or you can learn from them, or in the case of other streamers, you can turn those trolls into your content.
I wish I was better about doing that. I mean, like I said, I've like been like, oh, you want to fight about it, troll? I've done that before, but some people are really good. Like, I don't know if you ever watch Sir Caitlin, but she's a streamer that, like, anytime there's a troll in her chat, she'll make a highlight for like TikTok and YouTube and Twitter, all that kind of stuff whenever it happens, because she'll get a troll and she'll pop up a filter on her face cam, so it like takes away her nose and makes her mouth big and her eyes big, and she'll be like, "What'd you say to me?" And like she makes like top tier content out of troll. Like, it's almost beneficial for her to get trolled, and it's like, man, I want to do that. I want to be able to snap off like on a troll like that and be able to do something funny, which I've tried. I haven't, but I don't actually have a whole lot of trolls here lately. Even like a few weeks ago, whenever that person spoiled the ending to the game, they weren't even trolling. For some reason, they just randomly were like, "So you know that this person does this thing?" And I'm like, "Oh, why? Why did you say that?" It says first playthrough right in the title, the tags. I've talked about the stream for the last 2 hours. I don't know any of this stuff, and then you randomly just gonna be like, "Yeah, so you know this character, they kind of get whooped," and I'm like, "What?" It killed my spirit, and it wasn't so much because they did that. It was actually more so that I was so excited to finish that game, and I was right by the end of it, and then they did that, and I was like, "Are you serious? You had to say it. You had to say it like whenever I'm an hour away from finishing the game. You had to do
You
it."
could literally just be like, "You mother."
I
Oh
wanted
god.
to. And what sucked is it was actually like a good friend, and now they're mad at me because and I didn't even go off on them. I was actually very casual, like, "Oh, dude, don't say spoilers," and stuff like that. And like chat was like, "Yeah, don't say spoilers." And they got mad and actually blocked me on everything. They unfollowed me and blocked me, and I'm like, okay, so that's kind of fair that you left, because if you're that way, you probably shouldn't have been in the community anyway. But it hurt. It was rough that they like went that far. Like, they were that mad that they just spoiled the game for me and then made me out to be the bad guy. So I was like, that's one of those things that the thick skin, I was okay with that. After like a day, I was like, okay, that was rough, but it's ultimately their fault. I'm not going to blame myself for that situation. That wasn't anything to do with me.
100%. But we just had Jonesy come in to chat, and he's like, "Is that a Majin hat?"
Yeah,
I'm gonna
I
tailor
did show it off earlier.
I'm gonna tailor one of these questions to you. Top 3 animes. Go.
Okay, here we go. So, my list is gonna be a bit biased. These aren't exactly the best animes, but
In your
they're the
opinion.
ones that I like.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I'm gonna say Naruto
Okay.
for the first one, but I'm gonna kind of set that aside because I'm gonna count that as like the mainstream thing. It's not my overall favorite. It's just one of the mainstream ones that I'll go to mindlessly watch anime. So first one's gonna be Inuyasha. I know the script for that is just Inuyasha and Kagome saying each other's names back and forth for hours and hours, but I love it. Second one's gonna be ReZero, because that is like a perfect representation of my life, going through and dying over and over again. ReZero is a great show. And then third one's gonna be Another. Oh yes! Yes, that's what. See, I need that. I don't know if you got a wig, but we can both get in one of those suits. I'll get the opposite color. Oh yes, there we go. I'll get the pink wig. We got this. We're gonna make the best like ReZero stream ever.
I've already done it once. Okay, it was a questionable time, especially when I put that on. Then I went to my mother and I was like, do you mind doing
Oh god.
my zip up at the back? I can't reach. And she was like,
She's like,
have you got something to tell me? And I was like, oh, yeah, don't worry about it.
So I would have a hard time with because like I said earlier, I don't tell my family about my Twitch and stuff like that. The only one that's familiar with it, sorta, is my mother, and I've only told her like, yeah, I play video games and people watch me and stuff, and they'll like sub and all this kind of stuff. And she's like, you get paid to play video games and people just sit there and watch you? I'm like, well, it's not much. It's just like kind of here and there kind of stuff. And she's like, how do I do it? I want to do that. It's like it's not about making money, Ma. It's about having fun. Just like, no, screw fun. I want money. So that's not how it works.
Oh my god!
The only cosplay I've done on stream is a Joker cosplay from Persona, though. But I would definitely dress up in a maid suit. I think that would be great.
It was strange to say the least. I mean, I'll tell you what, this clip's been currently being sent to literally everyone I've been doing interviews with, but I'll send
Was it at least
to
free
now.
for you?
I went full out, okay? That's all I'm gonna say. I went full out. It was, if I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it properly, okay? And yeah, certain aspects of this.
Do an anime dance.
But yeah, it's happened, okay?
Yes. That is perfect. Oh, please do a dance. Oh yeah.
And I went full out, okay? If I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it properly. I bought the thigh highs, I bought the garter, it was there. It was,
Oh, that's perfect.
yeah.
That's literally the best thing I've seen all month. Oh man,
Oh.
that's class. That is like top tier content. Did you do the whole stream in that?
Yeah, I did the whole stream, but it just so happened to fall on Valentine's Day as well, so
Oh, you could have been somebody's waifu.
yeah.
Yo.
Yeah, it could very well have been. Like, look, Jonesy keeps saying that he wants me to like cosplay as Rios Gremory, but I don't think like I've got the right body shape for that. Like, oh god.
Mm.
But
I've had some people since I did the Joker cosplay. I've had some people like suggest cosplay ideas, and like some of them are kind of normal. They're like, "Oh, the cosplay is what's his name from Hunter x Hunter," or cosplay as Sasuke, stuff like that. And then occasionally you'll get that one recommendation: cosplay as Naruto whenever he's doing the sexy jutsu. I'm like, what? I don't want to be naked.
oh my god.
Get banned to be like that one person that like did the whole Flash thing on Twitch and got 3 days off or whatever. I'll just be like, sexy jutsu, get the like fluff around my body parts and everything, and be like, yeah, twerk.
You should just get like the printouts, print them out on card of like pixelated pixels and just stick them everywhere.
I've thought about doing something similar to that. Somebody told me, like, I tweeted a while back something about like, what can I do to grow on Twitch? And someone was like, he wasn't actually saying this as like legitimate advice. He was memeing because of like some controversy that had been going on. And he was like, well, you have to dye your hair an unnatural hair color, and you have to have like bobs. And I was like, okay, consider it done. So I got a piece of paper, wrote Bob's on it, duct taped it to my chest, and then went through on my phone and like colored purple into my hair. And I was like, done. Am I pro streamer now? And he subbed to my Twitch channel right after I posted that picture. I wasn't even live. He just went on and subbed to my Twitch channel.
I love it. Oh, I got time for that.
Yeah.
I might send out a little tweet later as well. Be like, how can I grow on Twitch?
Just be like, you need the Bobs.
Oh god. But
Crying over here.
how has streaming like influenced your personal self? Like, has it improved your confidence, the way you speak to people, the way you listen to people? Has it changed you in any way?
It's definitely changed like definitely the way I talk to people, I would say for sure. Cause not to say that I was a toxic person, but I've always had, part of the reason my name's Sad Boy is because I've always had a issue or a problem, I could say, even with like controlling my emotions. I tend to just bottle them up until they just pop off and everything, and then things go bad. But streaming, I feel like since I'm more comfortable on the platform, and I've been trying to be as honest as possible and like telling people how I'm feeling and how my day's been, I feel like it's definitely made me a more honest person, in the sense of like, if I'm feeling a type of way, I'll just say like, hey guys, I'm not feeling too good today, I'm feeling kind of sad or whatever. Whereas before streaming, I would just bottle it up and just try and completely deny that I was feeling anything. I was just like, meh, just a little sad guy, that's all I am. And so I was constantly with that reputation, yeah. So like I feel like it's definitely helped me in that sense, as far as speaking and being more. It's also helped me be more sociable, I'd say, because not that I've ever been like super shy, but I've always felt like nobody wanted to hear what I had to say, so I just didn't talk, because I was like, nobody's interested in hearing me say anything. What do they care? I'm just some random guy that likes wearing beanies. That's all it is. And streaming has made me like feel a bit better about myself and helped me gain some type of self-worth. So now that I feel like whenever I have an opinion or something, I feel like I can actually share it, whereas before I just never felt that way in my life, where I felt like sharing things about how I was feeling or opinions on movies even or games, I was just always quiet, because I was like, nobody wants to hear what I have to say. And Twitch has definitely helped me with that, because of like people like, you know, asking questions or just interacting with each other and giving each other opinions and everything. I didn't feel that way IRL, because not to say that I've had bad friends. I have good friends now, but like growing up, I was homeschooled, so I didn't have like people to socialize with until I was like 15, something like that. And kind of just getting into like Twitch and stuff like that has helped me have more people to talk to and everything. Sadly.
Well, thanks for the follow. Okay, eeks.
Cakes.
Cakes.
I want cake.
The cake is a lie.
These cake. Nah, I'm playing.
Okay, all right, but say for example that someone watching this video has never heard of you, doesn't really know about you or your channel. What kind of content do you do now? What do they expect to see when they go to your channel?
It's mostly like kind of like let's plays, like old-fashioned style let's plays, or of me going through like single player games, more just like chill chatting with chat. But I mostly try and focus on like story focused games and kind of let it be an adventure for everybody. And if there's like options to be made, then I'll ask chat like, oh, should we be the good guy or the bad guy, or this kind of stuff, and kind of let chat be involved with the game a little bit as well. So like for Persona, I've been going through and I've been asking people like, who do you think I should who's like waifu of this game, since you can romance, who's waifu, or like what team should we go into this palace with, like try and interact with them as much as possible. But I definitely focus more so just on single player games and like the story of single player games, since that's part of what I'm most interested in whenever I play video games anymore. I always go into it mostly for the story or cool mechanics and concepts and stuff like that. So I'm a lot more observant. I'm not the kind of streamer that like sits there, plays the game, and they're like constantly like yelling and screaming like, "Oh, I'm Spider-Man! I'm swinging through the ceiling!" Blah 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 blah. I'm more of the casual like, "Oh, I'm playing Spider-Man. This mechanic's really cool. This is a new feature that they added from this game. This is really cool here. story's good here, stuff like that. I do
okay.
tend to joke a lot. I do joke a lot whenever I'm playing. Like whenever I was playing Spider-Man the other day, I was joking about how one of the characters took like 30 minutes to clean up a spill, and I was like, "You let spaghetti dry rot onto the carpet." So there's definitely some jokes thrown in there. I'm not just completely deadpan, like, "Oh, this kind of stuff." Like I'm always, despite the name Sad Boy, I'm 90% of the time smiling and laughing with people. So there's a lot of jokes being thrown, but also very observant with the game too.
Okay.
Try and take games as seriously as possible, unless they're a goofy game that isn't meant to be taken seriously, like Saints Row or something like that.
Okay, all right. And this is the question that I mentioned earlier that I said we were going to get to. But is there a difference to the games that you play on stream versus off stream? Because there is specific games that I feel you can't play on stream because it's just you can't see chat and play the game at the same time.
Yeah, I'd say I play off stream. I play a lot more online focused games. So I'll play like, for example, on stream I've been playing like the Medium, Persona 5. What was the other one? Spider-Man. Like a lot more just single player games where I can focus on chat, and they're Spider-Man being an exception. Usually the games I've been playing here lately are very chill and relaxed, so I can focus on the chat most of the time and still play the game, in comparison to what I play offline, which is usually things like Smite, Apex Legends, Rogue Company. Like there's a lot more online focused stuff, Mario Kart, Splatoon, stuff like that. Because I tend to, sometimes I'll play with coworkers, because I have a life outside of streaming, so I try and balance that out where I'm hanging out with real, like, IRL friends just as much as stream. But sometimes I like to, like, game with the community, so sometimes I'll hit up Discord and be like, I'll ask people, like, does anyone feel like playing any of these games, Mario Kart, Splatoon, whatever? And if people feel like playing, I'll play with them off stream and just kind of hang out and voice chat and kind of have like a little bonding session where we just kind of chill game. We don't overcomplicate things. I don't put on the, like stream persona where I'm constantly talking. There's more like just kind of setting
more
the game.
relaxed. Yeah.
Yeah, just kind of having chill conversations. Or if we're taking the game seriously, we'll do like the whole call outs and everything like that. But it's definitely which I also trophy hunt off stream, but I tend to save the harder ones for recording, so I don't really count those. But like, yeah, it's definitely more off stream. I'm playing mostly online games anymore, and that's partially because I want to save the story focused games for stream so people can see my live reaction to events and things happening in the story. I typically don't do like playthroughs that I've already gone through unless it's a game that I really love, where like no matter how many times I play it, I'm gonna have fun. I try and keep it all blind playthroughs because I want people to see like my reactions to this character dying or this character like
Being
turning
genuine,
into
yeah.
God or whatever.
Okay, all right. And if you had to choose, like, so the question I've got is, where do you see your brand, your channel going towards? I don't want to know like an end goal because I feel like that's such an unrealistic thing to ask of someone. Like, oh, where do you want it to end? I don't want to know that. I want to know what is your next big milestone. I'm not talking like 500 followers. I'm talking like a big milestone.
I think the next plan, like the thing that I'm working on that I want to work towards, I want to actually start focusing a bit more on my YouTube channel and actually growing that. So actually uploading on there, because I actually made it back in December, but the only thing I've uploaded on it, aside from the part 1 to the Medium, is just Twitch highlights. And I want to do more than that. I want to do like actual videos, as far as like I have my trophy hunting videos that I plan on doing. Eventually at some point I'd like to do like vlogs or something. One thing that I actually really want to start doing is some music related content. So I actually want to make like album reviews because I listen to a lot of music. I listen to music constantly, from like rap, metal, rock, R&B, some K-pop or just regular pop in general. Like I listen to a lot of stuff, and that's kind of one direction that I want to go for, is try and make some album reviews and things like that. I'm just kind of working on building myself up there to where I'm comfortable recording YouTube videos. So I definitely say like my next milestone, two milestones, I guess, would be, one is to make my YouTube channel better and actually improve the quality of that. And then another one that I've been, One Direction, no. But the other one that I'm working on is me and another streamer friend of mine are actually working on recording a song together.
Oh, okay, that'd be cool.
So that's something that I'm also kind of working on. I'm just waiting on her to finish her side so I can start on my side of it. So that could be something else that we're kind of working towards. Those
Okay.
are the top two, I would say. I have other things that are kind of on the back burner of things that I want to work towards in the future, but they're kind of not prioritized right now. It's
Okay.
mostly the YouTube and music thing that I'm wanting to work on now.
That actually goes in perfectly with my next question, which is, who is someone that you have always wanted to do a collaboration with, and why?
Ooh, I gotta think about that. I'd say Paul's diss track is still top tier music.
Yeah, so I've had one of my followers actually do me a diss track because it was just just talking smack in one of my streams, and then he said, "Oh, don't carry on, otherwise I'll do a diss track on you." And I was like, "You know what? I call your bluff, sir." And yeah, he did. Yeah, he genuinely did send me a diss track.
Diss track. That's how you get popular. You get those diss tracks and get all the reaction YouTubers onto you, and they're like, "Oh, when's he gonna reply?" That's how you get popularity.
The issue is with that is that I cannot make music, and I am practically unable to rap. So, bit of an
That's
issue
fair.
there.
You make an R&B diss track. I believe in you.
It will happen eventually. It will happen eventually. Any publicity is good publicity. Yeah, I mean, well,
Sometimes, unless you're getting canceled,
yeah. Then it's bad publicity because you're cancelled.
then nobody wants to speak with you. I'd say in some people that are more around my range, I'd say at least one of them I can think of that I've been thinking about trying to collaborate with would be Messy Ness. He's a really cool streamer. He plays like, he's currently working on his YouTube channel as well. He's trying to go through all of the bosses in Resident Evil 2 blindfolded, which sounds insane. I don't know how you play a video game blindfolded, but he's been doing it. That's kind of what he's been working on.
Okay.
Another one I would say I'd like to work with would be Ouija Boo. I don't know if you've ever
Nope.
followed Ouija Boo, but she's really cool. Another like Resident Evil like horror streamer. She plays like Resident Evil games, Dead by Daylight. She's just a really positive spirit that I felt like I've always like vibed with, that I would like to eventually collaborate with. Trying to think of other people that I'd like to. I know I've been meaning to hit up more people for collaborations. It's just I kind of get a bit shy asking people for collaborations, I guess. I always assume that people don't want to collaborate with me for some reason. But then I message people and like everyone's like, "Oh yeah, I'm definitely cool to collaborate with you." And I'm like, "Oh, that was a big weight on my chest because I was not ready."
Do you know what? It's one of those things. If you don't ask, you're never going to know. And that's the best advice I can give to one. If you're thinking about asking someone about a collaboration or anything along those lines, just ask. The worst that's going to come out of it is they're going to go, "Actually, nah, I'm all right, thank you." Move on
Yeah.
to the next person. Done deal. Simple as.
Yeah. And then like long-term view, assuming that I ever get to meet them, I would like to one day in the future, probably like 50 years from now, well, not really 50 years, but I'd like to like do some type of collaboration with one of the people from Achievement Hunter, because I actually like, whenever I first started YouTubing and stuff like that, they were a huge inspiration for me. Like all of those people at Achievement Hunter, like either Brown Man or Michael or any of them, like I would like to be able to collaborate with at least one of them, just because I wouldn't say I grew up watching them, because obviously I was already grown up, but whenever I started content creating in general, they were like my main inspiration of like the kind of content that I create today. Is the stuff that they made. It's my stuff, I would say, is a bit inspired by what they did for sure. They were like some of the only YouTubers that I ever watched back then, so.
Okay, all right. And you must have come across this, because I've come across this quite a lot, but I've had blank moments when it comes to my stream. Like, there's so far from what I've seen from other people, there's two different types. You either have too many choices and you don't know which one to choose, or you have no choices and you don't know where to go.
Yeah.
And how did you get over it?
Because I'm super indecisive, so like trying to decide what to choose is like really difficult for me. One of the issues that I'm having right now is like deciding what game, because I do like playthroughs. So trying to decide what game I'm gonna play after I beat Persona or beat Spider-Man has been like a pain in my butt for weeks. Because I keep telling people, oh, after I beat Persona, I'm gonna play Final Fantasy VII. Next week, actually, I'm gonna play Nier Automata. Week after that, I'm actually gonna play Tales. Like, I'm super indecisive whenever it comes to having too many decisions. Usually, if it comes down to like how to help myself make decisions, I'll either make polls on Twitter or chat up with people on Discord, go over like the pros and cons of each decision that I'm making, and kind of let the community help me decide that kind of stuff, so that they feel more involved with what the channel and like where the direction it's actually going is. Whereas whenever I don't have options, I tend to, and it depends, like if you mean like live on stream or off stream. If it's off stream, I'll like take a day off to just kind of sit there and think about it. I'll make a list of like, you know, what I could possibly do, or kind of go over my ideas in my head and on my phone. But if it's on stream, I've actually taken like a 5-minute break before on stream, 5 or 10-minute break, just to kind of pull up a just chatting scene where I just kind of chat with people while I try and make a decision if I don't have very many options.
Okay, all right.
I tend to do that a lot whenever I like try and switch games. If I end up like not vibing with a certain game, like if I'm not feeling Persona and I want to switch to a different game, then I'll just kind of pop up a just chatting stream and just see what everyone else is feeling and kind of get the vibe of where everyone else wants to go. I definitely use like community to help me make decisions, because I'm super indecisive.
100%. That's one thing that's been consistent with everyone. Like 99% of the time, people are just going to say, yeah, I'll just ask my viewers and my community and they help me out. And that is great use for them, because at the end of the day, they're the ones seeing content. So surely they're going to know what they're going to want to see next, really.
Yeah, and I'm really grateful that I have like honest people in my chat, because they're not like, some people say, like hypothetically speaking, like, oh, I don't know what to play, should I play Apex Legends or whatever, and a lot of people will be like, oh yeah, I'll watch you play anything, like I'm totally fine with whatever. And then after you start playing, then a lot of those people that said that they'll watch you play whatever will leave, because they're not actually interested in that. They were just kind of going towards what they thought you wanted. Whereas I feel like the people in my community that I've built up so far, most of them have been really honest. I've even had some people tell me like, oh, I don't really like this game that you're playing. I can't wait for you to beat it so you can play something else. And I'm like, hey, I appreciate the honesty at least.
100%,
like,
yeah.
I'd rather have the honesty than the butt kissing of being like, oh yeah, this stream is so entertaining. Like, I like it whenever people go out of their way to tell me something. Like, I don't want to be bullied. I don't want people to come into my stream and be like, your stream is trash. But I appreciate it whenever somebody comes to my stream and they're like, I don't like your layout. I think there's too much on screen, or I don't like where your face cam placement is. I think it should be over here, or I think your face cam should be bigger. Like, I like whenever people are actually honest with you and tell you like the ways you can improve. The people that are actually honest with you, that aren't just gonna kiss up to you, those are gonna be the ones to keep, that I would say, because they're actually gonna help you push forward, rather than the people that are just okay with where you're at, you know.
Constructive criticism is what you want all the time. literally.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need
Yeah.
that little bit of a hard edge. It's like just to really kind of break you down. Be like, nah, no, I don't like it. Like that cat down there is too fat for me. It just looks weird. Like, let me know.
Yeah.
Brutal and honest sometimes works perfect. Not all the time, but sometimes it's good.
Yeah. I've been known to be a bit of a too brutally honest person sometimes whenever I've given criticism. I've changed it a bit now where I'm still honest, but I'm not like brutal about it. I'm not rude about it. One of my friends that used to stream, I used to tell him because he would ask me like, how can I improve my stream? And I was like, at the time, I was a different person. Obviously, I was not a good person, I would say. It was like, your streams are boring. You're like barely talking in your stream. You're just sitting there in silence while you just make weird moaning noises in your game. And he's like, oh, okay. And I was like, and you could tell it was affecting him, but I was kind of a dick at the time. So I was just kind of like, yeah, you asked for what I thought you could improve on. That's what I feel like you can improve on. Whereas now, if I went and told him something like that, I would definitely not be so rude about it. I would definitely be more like, you could commentate more. I feel like if you commentate and actually added some personality to your stream, it would improve. Whereas back then I was just a brutal critic. I was like, yeah, your streams are kind of whack. You're just sitting there playing a game. You're not saying anything. It's like, oh, I'm sorry that my streams are crap. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry too. It's okay.
Wow. And I do think there is a massive difference between the people that can say that to me, because I can agree with you on that, because I have my close friends that I would expect that from. But if it's someone new that's coming into my channel and try and tell me that, oh, the banhammer becoming by hard.
Yeah, and to be fair, we had actually been like friends for like 4 years or something. So it was like we were like well known with each other. So I felt okay saying that to him. If it was somebody that I didn't know, I probably wouldn't have been that honest. But I remember having that exact conversation with him about him not really commentating and being like, yeah, it's just kind of boring. You're not like saying anything there. And I feel bad now. We're not really on speaking terms anymore for completely different reasons, but I feel bad now saying it to him that way, because I'm like, man, if I would have said it maybe a little bit nicer, he probably would have had more enthusiasm on improving it. So I try, and if I give out criticism, I try and be like as honest as possible, but without being a jerk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Something that I think most people I feel like try and do that. It's just some people, especially like earlier we were talking about being a creator, you need thick skin.
Mm-hmm.
Some people they don't have that thick skin, so they take a criticism a bit too personally sometimes.
Yeah, 100%. That is, they're gonna learn quick. It's gonna be a steep learning curve. But
Yeah.
that is, yeah, I can fully agree with that. And it kind of leads moderately on to the next question, because talking about thick skin, some of the best creators have got that, and from the get-go, and you can tell that they've got that from the get-go because of just how they carry themselves. And you just think to yourself, well, they've got something. They've got that something that they're gonna get up there. And my question to you is, who is someone that you follow or watch or mod for or just are aware of that you think is underrated? Like, you don't know why they're not like on triple digits, 4 digits viewers. You don't know why they're not quite there, but you just feel like they are underrated.
See, I'm gonna have to think about that one for a little bit, because there's actually, I have one off the top of my head that I can think of would be
Top of
the
your head
Somber
will work. Sorry, what was it?
Yeah, Somber Gamer, the Somber Gamer.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with him.
No.
It's got a more like chilled, relaxed vibe to him, but he's like a big video game collector. Like, he collects video games, like retro games, new games. He'll go through and collect like old PS1 games. He'll make videos on his collection and everything like that. But he has like a very like chill vibe to him and everything. Like, whenever you go and watch a stream, it's kind of what I'm going for. Would be like just like sitting on a couch with somebody and having a chill conversation with them about video games and stuff and just popular interests and everything.
Mm.
I think he has one of the better quality streams from his camera, his lighting, his choice in games, his layout, and everything. He doesn't overdo it. He doesn't fake a personality or anything. Kind of like what we were saying earlier about like people having to talk consistently during the stream. Like he'll talk consistently, but he doesn't overdo it at the same time. Like he just talks whenever he has something to say. But he's very chill. He's very very nice. He's very kind and everything. And sometimes I'll pop into his stream and I'm wondering like, how is it that he's setting at like 20 some viewers, 30 viewers, whereas that there's people out there that are getting like 70 or 80 viewers just playing Warzone or something and not even looking at their chat ever. Like he'll sit there, he'll interact with every single person, even if you're new. Like the very first time I entered his stream, it was like we instantly clicked. Like we were like, maybe he doesn't feel the same way about me, but I felt this way with him. It felt like I'd already known him for a long time. It was just really chill vibe. So that's kind of like one thing that I'd definitely say. That and BZ's another streamer that I would say is really underrated. He takes streaming very seriously, and he does like really good quality streams. And he'll stream like a mixture of Warzone and Apex, but then he'll also do like single player streams like Little Nightmares, Demon Souls, stuff like that. He's constant. He's one of the people that actually inspired me to add things to my stream, like the pop-ups, like the nut button or the other things like that, the voices, all that kind of thing. He's actually the one that I would say inspired me the most to try and add on stuff to my stream, because whenever I watched his stream, I was always thinking to myself, like, how is it that he's only averaging like probably 20 viewers and that there's people out there that they aren't putting any work into their stream, but they're averaging like 40 or 50. I don't understand. Like he actually puts in a ton of effort into his streams. That's kind of what motivated me to be like, okay, I need to up my game, because my streams at the time were not good. They were just like face cam here, game here. That's all it was. And I was like, after watching his stream, I was like, I gotta step it up. If he's doing that with basically the same setup, then I have to definitely
Try
step
and
up
do
my
the same. Yeah. 100%. Okay. All right. And would you? A secondary question to that is, who would you like to see do one of these? Just because you're curious about who they are, or would like to know more about them.
I would say I have to think about that. I think I would be most interested to hear what the Somber Gamer would have to say, because he's, like I said, he's very chill and everything, and like you can vibe with him like that, like instantly, and he's always like down to play games. I know he plays with his community as well. He plays like Apex and things with them. But I know he's been like collecting games for a long time, and he has like a huge collection. I always go on to like his Instagram just to see like what he's been adding to his collection. He'll collect like figures, games. Like he collects a lot of stuff. He always has a very chill vibe to him.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I feel like he would be a good guest as far as like having stuff to say, something interesting to add on, you know?
Definitely send me his links and all the others that you've mentioned, because yeah, I'll try and get them on. But right, we'll do one more question.
Okay.
And no, in fact, you know what? I'm gonna let you take the floor, because I've actually been asking you a whole load of questions, and I've been nosy with everything to do with you. And it is only fair that I at least give you the opportunity to do the same. So within reason, no holds barred, you may ask some questions.
Okay. I was actually gonna ask you earlier, what kind of got you into like interviewing and stuff like that? Like, did you just kind of get into Twitch and you knew you wanted to do that, or were you inspired by others to do some type of interview type of content, or?
So I watched a lot of like big YouTubers that were also streamers that were telling me how to become a successful streamer. and they all gave the same answer, round about the same answers to the same questions that everyone's asking. But nobody spoke about the duct taped camping light to a phone holder and the amount of sweat that and like the butt warmth that you get on sitting on a chair, and they didn't speak about these mundane issues that genuinely make a difference. And I spoke to some of my friends, my streamer friends, and they had a lot of things that were relatable to me, but I didn't know about them because all these big streamers didn't say it. So I was like, why is nobody doing this? So I was like, do you know what? I'm gonna do it. So I did that to try and better myself. But then as I'm doing it more and more, it becomes more and more of a it became more apparent to me that I wasn't really doing it to try and better myself. I was just doing it because I'm nosy, and it's fun finding things out about people.
Oh yeah, I can agree with that. I actually would like to do more like interviews and podcasts and stuff like that. I think they're actually a lot of fun to listen to, fun to like be a part of. I actually really like them. That's why whenever you invited me, I was immediately like, yes, I want to do that because I talk a lot, and that's what these kind of things are kind of designed for, is talking. And I'm like, oh, that's my bread and butter.
Yeah,
I can talk for hours.
Yeah, quite literally. We're going on like what, 3 hours and a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was, as soon as you invited me, I was like, oh yeah, for sure. And then I went through and I watched Ham's interview, and I forget the name of the other one. I think it was the last one that you did. Talking, that's my jam. I love talk.
Oh god.
So like, was it someone specific that you seen like kind of doing it, or like, well, not doing it, but like was trying to think how to word it, the streamers streamer YouTubers that you were watching that were like kind of giving this like, generic advice, like, oh, do this and that. Did you kind of like watch them and kind of say like, I can definitely make a like interview or series or something that's a bit better, that's easier for people to kind of get advice from? Or did you kind of see it and was like, nah, I want to do something totally different from what they're doing, I want to make my own content here, if that makes sense?
Yeah, that does make sense. So the way that I could possibly best describe it is, so I used to watch Harris Heller. I still watch him. Harris Heller on YouTube, Devin Nash on YouTube as well. And there's a couple others that I don't watch a lot of their videos, but I like to get a contrasting view from all of them. Realistically speaking, the only one I did these kind of like sit downs with streamers was only Devin Nash, and he would do like these deep dives with people, and he would really go into the details and some of the financial side and the numbers side of things, which is very, very cool and informative. But that's for the large scale streamers, and I'm not there. It's cool to hear about that, and it's cool to understand it now, but I'm not there. I'm like way down here. I want to know about the issues that I'm gonna get here, not there. And that was really my only driving force.
Yeah, that's because I see a lot of people, whenever they get to like that, like those numbers and stuff, then they'll start branching off and doing like, oh, I want to do like a podcast series or whatever on this and that. But you kind of get their perspective of somebody that's done it for like 4 or 5 years or whatever. You don't get the perspective of somebody that only been doing it for a year or a few months and stuff like that, which is, I feel like that's a bit more interesting, because then you hear a more like raw reaction of their learning process a little bit. Because like right now I'm still learning with like plugins with OBS and stuff, so like if I talk about plugins for OBS, I'm like, yeah, so I think you do this thing and this thing, and like you kind of go over your ideas and everything. Whereas I feel like people that have already been doing it for years, they just kind of talk more about facts rather than like the process, like you actually learning right there on the spot.
Yeah, and that was literally the reason why I wanted to do this thing.
Yeah. to kind of get right there in the nitty gritty of things.
Yeah, quite literally. Anything else?
Also, I don't know if you've had this question. I'm sure you have, but I've been wanting to ask because I'm also nosy. Where'd you get your name from?
My name. Okay, so my IRL middle name is Octavian, and it is a Roman derived name. Sorry, a Latin derived name, and oct means 8, so the 8th one.
That's actually badass.
Yeah. So
That's better than my middle name. I just have a generic Dale for a middle name. There's nothing cool I can do with Dale.
Sad Boy Dale.
I don't know if it comes off as gangster as G does. That's cool though. I was curious about that whenever I first seen it. I was like, because it stands out from everyone else's names. I feel like everyone else kind of has like, not necessarily generic names, but there's a lot of like Ghost Killer or Phantom this or XX something XX, like stuff like that. And then I seen the 8th one and I'm like, what?
That's weird.
I must know. I'm like looking through all your streams and I'm like watching and I'm like, he's gonna mention it. He's gonna mention it. Somebody's gonna ask him.
Yeah, and like that's the thing. One of the most like popular questions that I get is, oh, what happened to the previous 7? And I'm like, well, there's a reason why I'm the 8th and not the 7th. What I'm saying, like,
Kind of got beat up on the way out. I may or may not have ate them.
but
they're gone. They're gone, so.
I'll take one more question if you have another one.
Where would you see like this interviewing stuff? What direction do you plan on going for the future? Like from a year from now, do you think it'll still be the same format, or do you think you're gonna kind of steer in other directions?
What I'd love to do is to be able to up the production quality of these, and what I'd like to be like a next big goal for me is to be able to get these in podcast form and post them on Spotify.
That would be cool.
That is, I think, yeah. And I've got another kind of big thing that I've been working on that is currently still not being talked about in public eye, but that's another one of my big goals to get done. So yeah,
those productions.
Yeah, secret productions. But it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. Thank you very much.
Thank you for.
No, it's been honestly, it's been a pleasure having you on, and thank you very much for agreeing to do this. And whilst I do the outro, if you wouldn't mind finding someone that you would like to raid with everyone that's been with me today, and for those that are watching this on Twitch, thank you very much for being here. I appreciate every single goddamn one of you, because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys and girls and everything in between. Thank you. And if you're watching this on YouTube, if you missed parts of this or you'd like to see me live, I stream every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Occasionally do one on a Sunday as well. If there's any timescale changes, it'll be posted on my Discord. The links to that is going to be down below. If you'd love to see this amazing gentleman to my left, SadBoyGee, all of his links are going to be down below. Please go give him a massive follow. Go pop off in his chat and be like, yo, I saw your video. What's popping? How's it going? Yeah, that's what I want to see. But from me and from SadBoyGee, this has been episode 26 of Infectious Thoughts. Thank you very much for everyone that's turned up today, and I'll catch you all on the next one or the next stream. Peace out, people.